Welcome to Snowmobile Sessions Live on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. It's the #1 destination to learn about snowmobiling, network with other sledders, and have an awesome time doing it. We'll meet other snowmobilers that share your passion and show your fan photos along the way. Snowmobile Sessions Live. Enjoy the ride.
This episode of Snowmobile Sessions Live is brought to you by Energy Power Sports. They're Oakville's full-line BRP dealer with sales and service to all BRP models and so much more. Energy Power Sports always has the fun in store with a wide selection of clothing, parts, and accessories for all your power sports passions. Make Energy Power Sports your source for Can-Am off-road, ATV, and side-by-sides. Can-Am on-road Riker and Spyder, including the sporty F3S. Sea-Doo watercraft and Switch pontoon boats. And Alumacraft fishing boats powered by Mercury Marine. Put yourself on a Manitou pontoon or a Widescape stand-up snowmobile. Energy Power Sports is the home for Lynx and Ski-Doo snowmobiles for the entire family. Do you feel the energy? Energy Power Sports, 879 Cranberry Court, Oakville, Ontario, or online, energypowersports.ca. All right, we're here tonight. March 13th, snowmobile season is still in full session. And we're here with Kevin down below from Koala Pieces, Inc. And we have Paul. He's a Polaris Ambassador and he's a strong believer in the product. He knows our friend Nuns, who's listening in his car right now on the way home from work. So I'm sure when Nuns gets home, he'll be in to dish you some good stuff, Paul. How are you both doing tonight?
Well, thanks for having us.
No problem. Kevin, how's things going on in your world? Is it still pretty busy with the season winding down?
It is. The season is kind of slowing down a little. And we're as a manufacturer, we're getting into the preseason booking process, which is painful sometimes with dealers because everybody's busy. So so that's the time of the season where dealers have to look forward for next season and see what they'll be looking for.
Yeah, perfect. I got to start out by commending you, Kevin, because I've had a lot of guests on this show. This is season 3. We're 82 episodes in, and I got to tell you, I don't think I've seen another company as organized as yours to become a guest on the show. Good job on that. It really is a good job. You sent me all kinds of documents. It's been great through the whole process. We had a pre-meeting beforehand, and you even sent me some product to try out as well, which has been dynamite. And I got some new headwear as well, which is great. So I'm ready for the next wedding if anyone's getting hitched soon. I've got a new hat for it.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. Actually, we're trying to get the best out of it for especially for your viewers and everybody who's listening. Yep.
Yeah, great. So, tell us a little bit for people who don't know who Koala Pieces is. Tell us a bit about the company.
Well, Koala Pieces, we've been around for 26 years now. Basically, we're based in Drummondville, Quebec, and so we're manufacturing only product for snowmobilers. So we're 100% dedicated to snowmobilers, and we've got about a little bit over 600 dealers network. Most of our dealers are located into the Canadian market, and we got about maybe about 20-25% in the U.S. market, especially in the east side of the U.S., Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. But our best products are definitely top of the line products for us are definitely carbide runners, the roller ski, scratchers. And we also have another company called just behind me on this side, B Power, which is aftermarket protective equipments for deep snow products. So Quality Pieces is really the trail side of the business, and B Power is actually the deep snow part of the business. Yep.
Right. Oh, cool. So there is some crossover there. I was looking at some of the B Power stuff, like your billet brake levers and things like that, that a lot of the trail guys want to run, including myself. And I know we've got Corey Brock in the chat there, and he's a firm believer on those billet brake levers. And so was the guy that stole this last sled, I think. He had both the Quality Pieces and the billet brake lever on, and maybe there was the demand for it. Who knows?
Well, yeah, you're right. And even like for A-arms protection, let's say in Ontario, a lot of the guys breaks A-arms, especially the lower A-arms, when they do like off trail once in a while. And this had been a pretty strong product for us in the last years, even for trail, let's say, market like Ontario, let's say.
Yeah. Let's see who we got in the chat here. There's a bunch of fans in the house. Jay Masser on the sleds. He's going to listen tonight through his head. He must have his headset in. Wisco Sledhead says, "What's up, fella? I think I just bought another sled." Just Fly Low is in there. Hello, everyone. Pro Polaris Rob. Good evening, ladies and gents. Corey Brock says, "What's up, boys? Koala Pieces rock." He is a firm believer in that. Who else we're getting? Brian Lynn from Slush Lake. He's back in the game next year with a new sled. Loves it. He texted me. He's pretty excited. He took my advice. Odie, the sled and car guy, he's in the house. He says hello, and he's got pictures tonight. Sent me some great photos. If that's my wife, I'm not here, okay?
No, that's my phone. Sorry about that.
Brian wanted to know if I set my clock ahead this weekend. Why were we late? Who knows? Greg Kelly's in the house. I thought we killed Greg Kelly at the Snowmobile Sessions run. Woke up in the morning, there was an empty 40-ouncer, and he was gone. I don't know. And so he sent in pictures. I was happy to see he's still alive. Mike Galitz is in the house. Good job, Uncle Buck. He's in there. JB 101. Oh, it goes on and on and on. JB 101, he sent me something. $5.50 Canadian. He says it's for the bridge fund. It's this hashtag Sexy Eyes Sky Bridge. He said the Wolf Loop is still money. Let's ride. There we go. And if you're paying attention 2 shows ago, every time I say sexy or eyes or bridge, you have to take a drink at home. So, and not water like I'm drinking tonight. So there we go.
I got water too.
Patent pending J Master. So Wisco says hashtag Sexy Eyes Sky Bridge. There it is again. On and on and on. DP rocks. My son's in the house, and Bill McClearly's in the house. Everything around Dorset is good, and north above Dwight, just getting gas in town is dry pavement. So there we go. And the more people are going to pop in as we go along here. We got a really good crowd. I'm going to read something else here from you sent me some testimonials or some documents, and I pulled out some testimonials on the Koala Pieces carbide. So here's just a few of the ones. The first person said he loved the fact that they had almost zero darting and very good on icy corners. Someone else said these carbide runners were a whole new experience on the sled. He has Pilot 7.4s, and they have a deep keel as it is. And with these Trek carbides, it made the front end of the sled feel like you had power steering, great corner control. Another person said the Trek carbide completely eliminates darting, and the cornering is precise and confidence inspiring. I love that. And another person said it's amazing, gives me more control on the snowmobile, and it lifted my confidence. There it is again. And the last one I pulled was got the chance to complete approximately 80 kilometers after installing the new Trek, and I could say I had full control in the corners without the need to pull too much. I didn't feel resistance at all in my shoulders after the ride. No darting, and nice feeling. What do you think of those testimonials?
Well, I'd like to ask Paul, because Paul, I believe that's the first time you met Paul, right, Gary?
It is, absolutely.
And
I don't know why Nuns has not invited him on the show before. I think
Well,
I think it's a stunning good looks.
so yeah, we just met Paul like a couple of months ago, actually, this season, and it was a great match for us to test our product, because we actually wanted riders, as many riders as we could, to test riders. And when I'm saying riders, I'm talking like real diehard riders, like let's say over 5,000, from 5 to 15 to 20,000 kilometers a year. And I'll let you introduce yourself, Paul, and talk a little bit on how it all happened.
Yeah, tell us about yourself first, Paul, and your kind of your background on this, because the pictures you have coming up are amazing. I mean, the work you do with children and things like that. Like, let us have it.
Sure. Well, thanks again for having me on, and thanks for the invite, Kevin. Yeah, so basically, I've been snowmobiling. I'm Paul Mayu. I've been snowmobiling for over 30 years now. Always been a diehard Polaris guy, and I'm also a high school teacher. So, I have a few other teachers at the school, Kirk and Serge, and some other guys that are also huge, gearheads, snowmobilers. So we're always looking for ways to try to get students involved. And at our school here in the valley, just north of Sudbury, lots of the students are also gearheads. So we're trying to think of ways to get them involved, get them wanting to come to school and something from them to get excited about, because not all these kids are necessarily excited by traditional ball and stick sports. So we have a lot of stuff at our school that, gets the kids pumped. And over the past few years, we really have been pushing the snowmobile side of things a lot. Lots of these kids have sleds. Lots of them ride them to school, go riding on the weekends with their buddies. So we're trying to figure out a way to get them more involved with the local clubs, and obviously to be safe on the trails, right? Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, to come back home at the end of the ride. So through different programs we have at the school, that's what we've been doing. And that's how Kevin and I kind of hooked up with that. It was actually through Nuns for our Polaris Ambassador ride. And he mentioned Kevin, and I thought he'd be a great fit for our Sled Days program at the school. So I shot him an email, and basically the rest is history. But yeah, with those testimonials you were reading, as you were reading them off, I was thinking to myself, so like every one of those things I totally agree with how those carbides perform on the snow.
What one do you prefer? What one do you run on your sled, or do you change them for the conditions?
Well, I'm kind of a unique situation because my wife and I each have VR1s. So on mine, I run the Adventures, and on hers, she has the Treks. And they're both super awesome. It's depending on what you do most. That's what I really like about the Qualipieces, right? You can really dial them in for where you ride and how you ride. So I really like the Adventures, especially when, a couple weeks ago we're in Cochrane, nice trails up there, nice and wide, and those things were just planted and, away you went. And the Treks, I put those on my wife's sled. I didn't tell her that I put them on. I just put them on, and we went, maybe 10 minutes up the trail, and we stopped to meet up with our friends, and she gets off her sled. She's like, "What did you do to my sled? The steer's so nice. It's so light." It's like you said, with the power steering, and it just, you point and shoot, and it was awesome. Like she was blown away by them. So, again, it all depends on what you're looking to get out of your sled, but there's definitely a carbide, that'll meet your needs.
Yeah, that's awesome. I gotta say, and this comes down to the organization thing. I brought the box into my Treks that I got here, and what I love is this part right here. And it's, you see there's a little bit of a, sorry, my green screen's messing up there, but there's a color code there. So they rank each carbide by handling, by darting, anti-darting, and by control. So it's kind of neat, easy to ride. What's the middle one? Anti-darting, and that one there is control. So you can see, you can pick out the carbide that best fits your riding style, which is really cool, And I love that, Kevin. I don't know whether you're the only one in the industry doing that or what, but you walk into a store and look at this, scan me if you need help. It's crazy. Like this is a customer focused package if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, well, what we wanted actually to accomplish is to if you compare to the tire industry, let's say you go shopping for new tires on your car or your pickup truck, and so basically what we did the same. So you can actually pick up your tire depending on different factors, like um, different factors like your performance. Let's say you're shopping for winter tires, so performance on ice, performance on snow, how quiet your tire is going to be, how long it's going to last. So you're going to pick up the right tire depending what you need, because if you're going for hunting, you might go and see for different tires. If you only need your truck for your grocery store twice a week, you'll need different tires. Same thing if you're pulling something. So it's the same for carbides. And actually, so what we try to do is to really simplify as much as we could the consumer experience. So we've based, as you said, Gary, we've based everything on 3 different factors: cornering control, anti-darting performance, and the ease to ride. So how easy is it for your shoulder, your neck to ride your snowmobile? So yeah, so it makes it not only easier for the consumer, but it also makes it easier for the store, actually, for the, whether it's a Ski-Doo, Polaris, Arctic Cat, Yamaha store. So everybody knows that everybody is super busy now, and not everybody has all the same knowledge about products behind the counter. And as you know, Gary, sometimes you show up to a dealer and the person in front of you had never been snowmobiling of his life. So, and you're asking that same person to, talk about products that they've never tried before. So that's how we came up to the whole thing, to make it easier for consumers. Yep.
I love that. Denon Oosterman's got a question. He says, Kevin, what's the best place to buy Koala Pieces, and what would you recommend for a fairly aggressive trail rider? He must be talking about a buddy of his. He usually uses 6 inches or 9-inch shapers, and the best place to buy them is at Energy Power Sports, right?
It is. Energy Power Sports is actually a new dealer for us this year. They've got an incredible team, like really good team. Whether it's sales or parts, or they're super friendly as well. And but as for the consumer, it's a tough question. Before answering a question like that, we need to know what he's riding right now.
It's an 18 XRS 850 that he rides with a it's an MXZ, so it's a 129.
Okay, and is he actually riding mostly on Toronto area or in Northern Ontario? Or
he does big miles Northern Ontario. He'll go out and run 400K by himself, no problem at all, and he's fast.
And what does he use right now? Is he already using something specialized or just standard?
He says 6 or 9-inch shapers. Now the only issue, Denon, is he has Curve XS skis.
Oh, yeah, we don't do anything for aftermarket skis at this point.
Yeah, you should really do that. The Curve skis are great. It would be a good product to look at. I can give you some measurements if you want to use us as a guinea pig. Use Denon as a guinea pig.
Yep.
I've got some Curve skis in the garage. I can get some measurements for you.
Yeah, but year after year, we're trying to cover as many skis as we can, and we're struggling just to actually supply demand on OEM skis. And since actually Ski-Doo is coming up with new skis almost every 2 years, 3 years. So it's a lot of work for us for aftermarket.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're going to run your pilots again, Denon, you could go with an Adventure or the Trek. I'd probably start on the Trek. It's an amazing carbide. We'll show you one in a bit. Have you got one on the bed there?
Yeah, I got some here with me as well.
Yeah.
But your consumer you're talking right now, he must still have his OEM ski, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. And they would have been the Pilot 5.7s.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about the product lineup, we can talk about it now if you want.
Yeah. What do you think, Paul, as far as someone that's an aggressive trail rider, and you've ridden both carbides? What do you think as far as if there is one available for your ski? What would you prefer? What would you suggest?
I would, from my experience, I would say the Adventures are more geared for the more aggressive trail rider. The one with the Cobra head on it, and that one works really nice. And with really nice advantage with that one, it really bites well. But with that Cobra head, it kind of squishes the snow in front of it to get rid of the other people's tracks, right? So you get rid of most of the darting, but yet it still bites like crazy going through the corner. So for an aggressive rider, I would say the Adventures more the way they'd want to lean. And if you're more of just somebody that does super high miles, at a comfortable speed and, looking for no darting whatsoever and super easy steering, then the Treks would definitely be, and they still improve the handling, but it's so easy to steer and the darting is non-existent with those.
Yeah, the Trek is really neat, and that's what I put on mine. And if you've got a Trek there to show it, it's a dual carbide system, but it's 1.5 length. So you put the shorter one on the inside when you're installing these things, and I really like this idea because Denon, that's a perfect person. I was having the chat about the curves, and we were running a dually and a single on the it was a Slim Jim and a single carbide on the curve, and it was great handling. And I call that 3 contact points, right? Well, in this case here, you got 1.5 on each ski, so that's 3. I think it's going to be great. And unfortunately, I didn't get to ride it on Sunday, but I'm going to ride it before the weekend, and we'll be riding it all weekend. So you hear my review next week on it. But and Drew, who rides like Ricky Racer, so. I can't wait to ride it, but I think it's a great design you've got there. That Cobra head we have seen on other carbides out there.
Yep.
But I heard something that kind of blew me away about that, is that Koala Pieces actually was the developer and the rest are kind of just following. Is that true?
You mean you talk about the Woodies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, when we came up with the Cobra head, that was back in 2007, and when we came out with the product, it was really meant to eliminate darting as much as we could, because with this product, with the Adventure, the nice thing with the product is that this plate right here, this is gonna flat down the snow as you ride, and it gives you like a really nice fresh groomed trail feeling, and it takes away, I would say, about 60 to 70% of darting away. And nice thing with this one too, with the Adventure, what people like about the product is how much bite you get, because when you look at like the standard OEM replacement, you're looking at a standard like round shape runner. So round shape runner, every time you'll be cornering, you'll be kind of skipping all the time, because you basically you don't have so much grip as a shape like this, a rectangular deep runner like this. So it makes a whole world difference. So you get, I call the Adventure a Swiss knife. So you get really good cornering, really tight cornering for the guys looking for top performance cornering. And with the plate in front of the ski, you get really nice anti-darting. And that plate is going to lift up your ski just enough so that you can keep control and really eliminate most of the darting. So that's a really really good product. And especially with Polaris, Paul is actually writing the product, but there's actually 5 Polaris Ambassadors in Ontario, and 4 of them are riding the product, the Adventure, the Polaris guys. Nice. They're just I don't know. It's just a really nice fit, and So when we came up with the Adventure, we had so much success with the product. Then 2 years after, Woody's came up with what they call the Woody's Navigator. So the Navigator, I don't know if your viewers are aware about the product. It's called the Woody's Navigator.
Yeah.
So this product is actually it's actually the same as this. Same product. It's just that you don't have the runner here in the middle. So and it's a bolt on. It bolt on your ski, and you got to drill a hole on your ski as well. But it's the exact same product as what we do. So
wow.
So I would say, and actually Woody's is our competitor. And I would very often, when we're doing shows, open houses with dealers, when riders have, like, just like you, Gary, when they have like let's say for Ski-Doo, when they have TX or TS skis, I strongly suggest them to buy the Navigator, even if it's our competitor. Actually, it's going to give them the exact same feeling as I was talking again a little bit earlier about the fresh groomed trail feeling, which is really nice.
Yeah, there was a couple questions. Mike asked it, and Christy was going to ask about the TX TS skis. So I'm glad you addressed that. We have Corey B's. Greg Kelly says he's using the Adventure line of yours. It's a great product. And Bam Custom says 2022 XRS 900R. I added Koala Pieces Treks this season, greatly reduced darting and steering effort on turn in. And he says, thanks, Kevin. Now I can't get my wife off my sled. Do you have any suggestions for getting your wives off your sled once you switch the carb off?
Well, I don't know. What about you, Paul? Any suggestion?
I got to put them on her sled. That's the trick. That's what I do. You got to share them. That's it. You can't keep them all for yourself. That's what I would recommend.
So if you don't have the sled for your wife, then this product's going to make you have to go out and buy another sled.
Yeah, there you go.
Saying. Happy wife is a happy life.
Exactly.
And then some of the other products here, I brought this one in. I'm installing these tomorrow at lunch. The scratchers. Have you ran these, Paul?
Yep, we run those also. They've been working really great. Just go bolt onto your rails. And what's really nice about them is they're the cable, right? So forwards or reverse, you don't have to worry about breaking them. Going into trailers, they'll bounce off when you hit the lip or with the tilt and load. And they definitely keep it cool. Like, I'm always running on I always make sure I can see my temperature gauge, and man, my sled, it's always run super cool with those bad boys on it. And I really, really like them. And if you ever need to replace, if you do lots of road running or whatever, they could replace just a tip on them, which is a nice feature also.
So that's cool.
We've been liking, yeah.
Here, I'm going to pull one out here, or both of them out. There they are there. Yeah, those are neat. Really thick. Well, you can see that. It's like
they're super high quality. One of my sleds, we have about 5,000 miles on ours on the scratchers there, and they still look like brand new.
Love it. Yeah, that's one thing I haven't ran scratchers, but the 2018 actually has a 1.6 Cobra pre-stud, so I'll definitely need to run scratchers on that. So that was great. Corey Jinks is in the house. Rob, the oil guy's in the house. He loves scratchers. Robert Gilmore showed up. We got a bunch of late bloomers here. Pretty good. Yeah. Get another sled for her, silly, Christy says. That's the answer. No, that's cool.
Well, if you want, Gary, I can also talk about the Trek.
Do that, yeah.
A little bit more in detail. So I would say the two best products right now, like that we have for trail riders, are really the Adventure that we just talked about, that Paul is actually riding, and the Trek. So the thing with the Trek, I'll try to show the product here, but nice thing with the product is the Trek is like a 2.0 version of the dualies. Let's say the Slim Jim dualies made by Woody's, and we make duals too. Qualipieces, we do manufacture a carbide we call the Mission, which is pretty similar to other duals carbide market on the market. So the nice thing with the Trek is like a 2.0 version of the dualies. But the difference is there's many differences. There's twice as much space in between compared to duals. So the snow goes in and out much faster, much quicker. There's not so much when the snow get jam in between, and with dually sometimes the snow get jam in between and you end up having like no more steering when you're cornering. That doesn't happen so much with those because actually they're, like you said, Gary, they're half on the inside and full length on the outside, so the snow just travels better inside. And the really nice thing, they're way deeper than standard dual carbide runner. So overall, the product is the fact it's half on the inside. When you're cornering, it makes it super easy to corner compared to dual carbide runner, because by the moment you go to dual have you ever tried duals before yourself, Paul?
I never had the duals on my sled. No.
Never? No. What about you, Gary?
Yeah, we had, like I was saying, we had the Slim Jim on one ski, so and a single on the other ski, and that Slim Jim dual plugged up solid on ice, like solid. So you ended up having a square, and I noticed that with yours, they're different shape, and because it's a half thing, I think they're going to clean out, and they're wider between as well, so they're going to clean out a lot better.
Yeah, and then the thing with duals are, people like most of riders love duals because when you're in a big stretch, like long stretch, duals are just like it's just like a train on track. It's really nice. No darting. Like you're gonna eliminate about almost 100% darting. But when you're cornering with duals, it's pushing. Usually it's going to push you'll have to spend way more energy for cornering. And that's what people don't like about duals. So that's why it's kind of split when people try it for the first time. So, and that's a nice thing with the Trek. The Trek, you get really good bite, better bite than standard dualies, but you do have that easy steering when you're cornering as well, which is really nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's the thing you hear when you read the reviews. And there was someone asking about carbides on one of the Facebook groups, and Koala Pieces kept coming up as the recommended, and not a bad thing to be said from anybody. So it was great to see that, especially with you coming on the show this week. What other products do you offer, if you want to go through a few more?
Well, we also manufacture what we call the roller ski. So the roller ski had been a huge product for us, actually, and we came up with the product in 2008, and it had been a very strong product for us. And the market on the roller ski, we're kind of growing the market because the product is really well known here in Quebec, and it's getting more and more known as well in Ontario and even in the south of the US. But basically the roller ski, I got one here. The roller ski looks like this. So basically when you engage the product, you're going to turn your sled just like an ATV. So every time you're going to go for gas, or every time you'll be on pavement, whether it's you're getting in and out of your garage floor, your trailer, every time you're going for gas or anything, on any single time you'll be on pavement, you just engage the product with your foot, and then you're just riding your sled just like an ATV. You're riding on the wheels.
And you sent me a video on that, and I was blown away by how much you can turn with those little wheels on. Well, and the other thing that I've seen them lots on snowmobiles and snowmobiles that are for sale and things like that. Engaging and disengaging them is really easy. Like you just kind of lift your ski up a little bit and push on your foot, and it flips down, locks. And then to actually disengage them, you just rock back and forth. You get that ski off the ground, it flips up. So it's, engaging is a little bit trickier than disengaging. And I think it'd be a neat product for those times when you're, sideways trying to turn and your sled's not having anything to do with it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's funny because every time we're doing shows and we're talking to riders, a lot of the riders, they know about the roller that goes on the ski. Yeah, well, I don't need it. I don't need it. We just traveled, we just crossed the street and that's it. Well, actually, nobody used the product to cross the street. Everybody's using the product for, like I said, gas station, your garage floor. It's funny. I was with Saint Ange Recreation for a dealer opening, and we met a consumer that he said, "Yeah, I got your product, and actually I love it because when I'm riding with my buddies." When we stop somewhere on the stop sign somewhere, and then let's say I see a Tim Hortons down the road, and Tim Hortons or a restaurant, and then it's like half a mile. Well, none of my buddy wants to go because they're going to burn their carbide and they're just going to struggle going to that Tim Hortons or restaurant or whatever. I got my roller ski. I just engage the whole thing and just you just go just like you would be riding an ATV, and you're not burning anything. You're not concerned about it. There's a safety factor too. If you're riding on the side of the street or side of the road with the roller ski engaged, it's super stable. And you can actually, the best person to talk to about the roller ski is probably Paul, because Paul had a set like for the whole winter.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Just like you guys said, like where I live, the parking lots are good sometimes, but for the last month now, there hasn't been snow in the parking lot, so the wheels are amazing because, like you said, you just get off and you can actually go around and you're not trashing everything. And my wife, again, she really loves them because, she gives her that confidence when she's in the parking lot. It's not to have to worry about getting off the sled and start swinging it around and everything else. And another thing I really like them for is in the trailer. In my particular situation, I can't just drive straight up the trailer. I always have to get off it and jimmy rig stuff. So like the guides in the trailer are good unless you have to steer, right? So it's really nice with these roller skis. I just put the skis on the edge of the trailer and I engage them. Then when I ride the sled in, I could actually kind of maneuver in the trailer instead of having to, go on the plastic guides and get them off and then move up again and get back off. So it just saves me a ton of time when I'm loading up the sleds, and my garage floor doesn't get trashed. I have the dollies for them, but you know how that is, right? You put them on and then you move and they fly forward or fly out the back. And, so you put these roller skis down and you set them and forget them. Then back out of the garage when you're ready to go, and they disengage and off to the races.
Can you go up the ramp with them on, or do you got to sled up the ramp of your trailer and then engage them?
Well, in my circumstance, it depends. I had one trailer. I used my buddy's trailer where I had a nice ramp door, so there wasn't a huge, curb to jump up. So that one just went right on. My tilt and load has a big gap, so that one I'll just get the ski toe up there basically, and then I'll just engage it, and then I'm able to maneuver around everything I need to maneuver around. And then I'll just disengage them and strap down the sled, and away we go.
Christy Carson said there was loads of roller skis in North Bay last week, and I was jealous of every single set. Yeah, and if you're riding around the Huntsville area, it's the same thing. It's like there's so many bare roads, and Corey and I were out in the Durham area last weekend, and there's a few long road stretches we wish we had them. There's a few muddy parts on the train tracks. We could have used them, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and is your wife now engaging the product by herself, Paul, or you're still doing it as a gentleman?
Well, I basically was doing it as a gentleman. I'm sure she's more than capable of, but I just jump off and do it for her. But I'm sure it is so easy that once you do it a couple of times, it's really effortless to get them out there. So maybe next year I'll make it do it himself, but yeah. Like I said, happy wife, happy life, right? So
how much effort is there into engage them? Are you just lifting up the tip of the ski, or what are you doing?
That's all I do is I just lift up the tip of the ski and I kind of hold on to the front bumper at the same time. And then I just kind of lift them and kick down like a kickstand basically on a bike. And then boom, it just pops right in, no sweat. It's easier than putting those than like the old dollies underneath your wheels. You got to lift and do
the
like
garage dollies. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You mean the ones that go over a little speck of dirt and they fly out? Those dollies?
Yeah, those are the ones. I got lots of those kicking around.
Yeah. Well, do you need them anymore with the roller skis? You must be able to have almost full maneuverability in the garage, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now that I don't use those on the sled with the roller skis because, like you said, unless you need to go completely sideways or something like that. But for us, I'm just going in and out. It's don't need the dollies at all anymore, so that works out really nice.
Yeah. What's the retail price of roller ski, Kevin?
The Canadian retail would be $439 plus tax. So, and then the question we have like pretty often about the roller ski when we're doing shows is how often do you have to replace the wheel? Well, actually, we barely never replace the wheel. Unless you really have like really rough gravel road, you're living in a country somewhere, you have to ride like miles before you get to the trail on gravel, because when you're riding on gravel, that's when it's really hard for the wheel itself for wearing. Otherwise, you're never going to replace the wheel.
Is there a bearing in there, or is it a bushing?
Yeah.
What's the roll on?
Yeah. There's a bearing inside. Yep, but you're never gonna replace the wheel unless you're really on gravel road. Yeah. And there's a maintenance. You just like twice a year or once a year. There's a very simple maintenance, greasing, and that's it. Most riders, they keep their roller ski the whole life of their sled easily, and sometimes they even take it from their sled and they put it on their new sled.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty neat. I guess that's the thing. If you look at what it saves you carbide life, it would probably pay for itself, right?
Well, and it's also safety. When those are on, you got full control on your sled, just like you'll be riding an ATV. If you're on the side of the road, or if you, let's say I was, when I talked to you, Gary, first time, I was in Timmins. 2 weeks ago, and I was at the gas station, and I don't know why, but it was probably a coincidence, but it was a snowmobile gas station. Like probably like 20 guys came up with snowmobiles all around me, and most of them didn't have a roller ski, and they were pushing, pulling, and
once
struggling at the gas station. And
once those carbides dig in, you're just, that would be amazing.
And that's only one example, but there's many times where you'll be on pavement and you have to be on pavement, and so we've been doing pretty good with those.
Yeah, All Terrain TV says, is there a warranty on those, and what's that in US dollars? And if someone in the USA wants to order from you, can they do it from your website, or what do you suggest?
Yeah, well, they can buy they can buy online for sure. We always try to push as much as we can consumers to our dealership for sure. The biggest part of our business is OEM dealership. So whether it's a Ski-Doo, Polaris, Arctic Cat, or Yamaha dealer, but yes, we do also sell online, and we can ship direct. And the warranty, we're talking about one season.
Yep.
But
they'll last you several seasons without a doubt.
Yeah, it's a bulletproof product. Oh yes.
Yeah, nice. Well, you can see if you hold it up again, the quality of the hinging and the lever system and everything on that. If you wanted to hold it up again, it's very good quality.
Yeah, and the owner that started Koala Pieces 26 years ago, actually, when he designed, he told me about the story when he designed the roller. he was a kind of extreme guy, and he was testing the product he was actually jumping sidewalks with his sled with the roller ski on.
Wow.
So apparently he had probably about 6-7 accidents with his sled, breaking his sled on the sidewalk, and doing all kind of stuff, like extreme stuff people would probably never do anyway with their sled. But he was testing product like to make sure it would be bulletproof.
Wow, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need a set for a 71 TNT. Corey says, you do have a basic carbide, for El Cheapos, the Peak. Is that something that you can run on vintage, or do you do anything for the vintage class? Or are they kind of on their own?
I don't know. Well, no, for vintage, you'll have to. We do. I know we do products starting like 1990 or somewhere around that. I don't think we do product for vintage. It's a too small market for us.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Or Paul's got some vintage at home. Well, only one, right?
Yeah, I just have. Well, I have a couple of early 90s. My dad though has about he has over 20 vintage sleds. So he would be a good guy to get on here one day. He could show you all kinds of cool sleds from old school stuff and some racers. But yeah,
and they're all running.
They're all capable of running, but he doesn't.
That's what vintage guys always say. They're all capable. They have good
stores them all
potential.
from the ground up, and he gets everything. Everything works on him. He gets spark. Everything's rebuilt fresh, But he doesn't want to start putting gas and oil in them because then they're going to sit on the shelf and the gas can go bad and stuff. But I guarantee you, if you threw gas and oil in those things, they would fire up right away.
Yeah. Greg Kelly wants to know if there's a Snowmobile Sessions promo code to buy a set tonight for discounts.
Well, we wanted to set up like a promotion or something for tonight, but I'm guessing we're just too late. We're just too late for today. But
well, you know what? Set a code up and send it to me, and then what I'll do is I'll add it in the comments below this replay, and then I'll let everybody know what it is also next week as well.
Okay, so I'll do that.
We'll take care of that. So don't order right yet, Greg. We'll get you set up, okay? And away we go. That's pretty cool. But yeah, like Paul sent in some great pictures. I was thinking he did have a snowmobile sickness with several vintages from the photos he sent. But do you guys want to have a look at fan photos? We'll keep talking about Koala Pieces as we go through them. But do you want to have a look at some fan photos? We got quite a few.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let me just get that set up then.
Fan photos are brought to you by Fast Track Snowmobile Traction. This season, quit sliding sideways on the ice and losing races to your buddies. A Fast Track stud kit will help you with improved braking and give you the arm-ripping acceleration you crave. I put over 3,000 clicks last season on my Renegade 850, and I'll tell you, these studs exceeded my expectations. Not one broken stud, my idle wheels still look like new, and they hooked up like I was on rails in the twisties, inspiring confidence every ride. Fast Track Top Gun kits are the highest rated stud kit at 4.9 stars with over 230 reviews. The studs are heat treated stainless so they are strong and they don't rust. The kit is lighter, easier on the track, and has a lifetime warranty against breaking. Each kit comes with a track specific template for complete balance with over double the scratch lines from stock templates. All listeners when purchasing a stud kit can get a free install kit, a $30 value. Visit fasttrack.co, add both products to the cart, and use the coupon code SNOW at the checkout. That's fasttrac.co. Fan photos are brought.
All right, let me get this billboard off. Boom. There we go. So if you want to send in some fan photos for next week, we're winding down the season 3, getting ready for preparations for season 4. And if you want to show your fan photos next week, get them in fanphoto@mudbrats.com. If you're listening on the podcast,
We'll show your fan photos. Just send them in when you get home. Get out of the car. You can do it for sure. Jinxie Boy sent us in some pictures. My good buddy, he said the Nutcracker machine is ready to go for next week. He said spot the only session sticker on the clutch guard. Also left the Wisco registration sticker on to honor our friends across the river. The sled is a 335cc board over 2 piston sizes. It's milled 30 over and exhaust and intake is ported. He's running 110 octane. She's a snappy little girl. That's the one he wants. He wants to do a Smart Shocks upgrade and run some Koala Pieces on there.
All set to do some vintage racing.
Yeah. The Nutcracker's one that Paul Prudhomme and the gang are doing up in near Kearney this weekend. Pretty darn cool, I think.
That's awesome.
That was a rocket before he got his hands on it. So I'd love to see what this thing can do now. But there we go. We see the only Sessions, Snowmobile Sessions belt guard decal.
Nice.
And I don't know whether your surprises came to you in the mail yet, Corey, but they should be there if you haven't been to the post office lately. But beautiful machine. I love that. That look at even the screen in the carb, Paul. So your scarf's not going to get sucked up in there.
Yeah, exactly. What more can you ask for? And the good thing with those old sleds, you always feel like you're going about 100 miles per hour no matter what. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the throttle cable's right there if you want to de-ice it before you ride. Love it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Easy to change your spark plugs too.
Yeah, no kidding, right? You can't say that for many new sleds, that's for sure. What's the oldest sled you've ridden, Kevin?
Oh boy, that would be probably an Alpine 1. I don't know if you remember Alpine 1, which is like a 2-tracks snowmobile.
Yeah, with a single ski, the Big Al.
Well, actually, when I was kids, my 2 grandfathers, they had a Maple House, and both of them had Alpine 2-track snowmobiles. And let me tell you something: with an Alpine 1 or 2, whatever, if you get stuck, well, you need about 10 or 12 friends, really good friends, to get you out of the snow or tractor. otherwise you'll have to be back in the spring.
Oh yeah, for sure. Greg Kelly, like I said, we're glad, we're very happy to hear from him and happy he's back. Hey Gary, if you have room, certainly put in some of my photos from the trip last week. It started out from Nairn Center near Espanola to Elliott Lake Dunlop Lodge to the Sioux and then over to Blind River. The trails were good, 90%. With some road riding. See, you need some roller skis there, right? And it's an annual trip with nephews and friends, Tony and Steve Ramulski, Chris Harry, Peter Knox, Brennan Pilgrim, David Blosky, and Sam Sinus. We had every snowmobile manufacturer represented except Arctic Cat. Thanks, Greg Kelly, he says. Look at that lineup of sleds. Pretty good looking.
Like a nice
Greg Kelly was our sweeper on our Snowmobile Sessions live in Sudbury there a few weeks ago. He made sure he stayed back and just cleaned up all the debris and picked up all the stuff falling out of my bag through the whole day. So we're happy to have him representing it from behind. Yeah. There's a good sign showing Halfway Haven and is only 97 kilometers away and great area. So you ride how many kilometers a year, Paul?
Well, we ride I have awesome holidays with my job, but I don't get to pick them, right? So it's basically we're weekend warriors. So every single weekend, from the time trail opens till they close, we're doing a good, 200-300 kilometers a weekend for as long as we can, basically. But unfortunately, it's hard for me to go for a week at a time like some of these other guys. I'm jealous, but yeah, every weekend we're out there putting on at least a couple 100 miles there. So.
Yeah, well, you're riding more than I do, Paul. I'm riding probably around 3,000 miles a year, 2,000 miles a year, but I'm pretty lucky. I get to, you know what I do? I just put everything, all my gear in one bag, and I always carry that bag with me, like my helmets and all my gear, my snowmobile gear. And every single time I get invited by a dealer or I get the chance, I just go with dealers.
Nice.
So I get the chance to try different sleds from different generation, and yeah, it's really nice. And we got sleds from the company too. We got about 6 or 7 sleds, deep snow and trail. So yeah, so I don't need to I don't need my to get a sled myself anymore.
That's great. So you have those sleds for developing product. How like are you always is it something that's constantly evolving, or is this a product that, hey, it's done, we're done, it's perfect the way it is, you know, and you're just in the business of marketing it?
Well, it depends. When we're talking about like the B Power side of the company, the deep snow product side of the company, B Power.
Yeah.
We usually try to every time there's a new generation. Let's say with the Polaris, when they came up with the Matrix version, so we had to get one of the Slash generation just to make sure that we would we would be able to better cover all the needs for the rear and front bumpers, and so it really depends on different generation, but usually we're trying to every 2 years we're trying to change sleds and making sure that we're testing all our products on the most current generation, either for Ski-Doo or Polaris. Usually we always carry both Ski-Doo and Polaris. Sorry about Arctic Cat and Yamaha. For Arctic Cat and Yamaha, usually what we do when we have to, we
Come out just new colors.
Yeah, now we just actually work with our local dealer, actually to get some sled and to get it tested here in Drummondville, Quebec.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
Well, the catalyst is a very hot item right now. Did you do you have to do anything different for that, or does that use a standard Arctic Cat carbide?
Well, actually, I don't have the information if they've changed the ski, because what matters for us is really about the ski. So I believe they're gonna release the information. Is that tomorrow?
For a catalyst?
For Arctic Cat and Yamaha?
Yeah, Yamaha's tomorrow. Arctic Cat was last week, and the catalyst sold out within hours of the launch.
Oh, within an hour! Wow.
Within hours. I think it was like 2 hours, but they only offered it in 600 on a couple models. So
okay,
they still have their other models available. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have that information right now. If there's any change on the carbide runner part of the product of the new generation. Yep.
Yeah. Nice. I love a company that's always looking for new opportunity like that. That's great. Serpent River. And then Odie, the sled and car guy, he's been busy. He's a huge volunteer at the local club, the Hill and Gully Riders. He says, here's some pictures from this weekend when I stopped at Fred's place. Saturday on my snowmobile, and Sunday he was in something else. So there's his snowmobile on Saturday, his Arctic Cat. And look at this Sunday. He was in his groomer.
Nice.
Isn't that awesome?
That's awesome. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, good guy, man. He works hard during the day, and then he's volunteering at night. I love it. It's awesome. And I didn't know he was a groomer operator, and I was up there riding around at night. I would have went and tried to find him there a couple weekends ago when I was up. But now I know who to look for, so I'll try to keep a Tim Hortons on the sled for him when I stop and find him. LaPointe 800R says Greg Kelly is a hoot back at the lodge as well. Yep. He had a fun time, that's for sure. Jacob Massard, he sends in some pictures. Look at that shot, huh? Oh, I didn't get his I didn't get what he actually put in there for there, but they had a good ride with the kids, and
there he is pulling wheelies hard.
Yeah, pulling wheelies on the with the kids on the toboggan behind them.
And well, it's funny because I was I was looking at Paul's Facebook last weekend, and he was doing a little competition with his son on a what was that, a Polaris 120?
Yeah, Polaris 120. It's we were doing some wheelies on that. It was a lot harder to do the wheelies on the 120 than the 850, but it was a lot of fun, I'll tell you.
That's awesome. Jacob says that one has a 200cc swap in it.
Oh, nice.
Pulling skis and pulling the kids, Bobby O says. Yeah. So I think Jacob must have the adventures on here, because look at his, the little kid up there riding that 850 can steer it like crazy. Don't look too close at those skis. But yeah, it's never too late to start them young. That's what they say. And then he sent in these pictures. This is the first one of his. I think he said it's a 68 Olympic. And then this one here is the best. And you always see those old pictures of the kids we've had guests on that send pictures, and like this one, and it's them as kids, riding around in the ski booths and having a heyday. That there is what memories are made of. Like, look at this one right here. She's having a hoot, right?
Yeah, that's how I started. My dad had an old Kawasaki Invader and a sleigh, and away me and my brother went in the back.
Yeah, I don't know whether even Jacob knows, but this is a lifetime memory for these two kids, man. They'll never forget this. I just love that picture. That one with the pink hat is rocking. She's having a heyday. Like that's one that she'll be on my show when I'm 90 doing season. What season will that be? 7? She'll be on the show when she's 40 going, yeah, this is a picture of when I rode my first ski boosh ride when I was, 7.
You had the roller ski on. That's good.
Yeah, not awesome. Now, is Rowski the same product, or is that a competitor?
The Rowski?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Rowski is actually our competitor. And the big difference actually is that our product, the roller ski, we're using the spindle as the pivot points. So there's a solid shaft that goes into the spindle, and this is actually our pivot point. The Rowski is actually attached to the plastic, to the ski itself. Oh. So every time you hit something on the road or on the parking lot, the shock goes through your spindle and suspensions. And with the competitor, it goes through the plastic first. So and definitely our product is Canadian, 100% Canadian made, and the Rowski is actually overseas made. So
okay, yeah. Oh, so yeah. This is a roller ski just because it's going through through the spindle. It is.
Yeah, I can tell you it's the roller ski because when you look at the wheel, there's a little metal pin that comes out of the roller.
Yeah.
That long, so I know it's a roller ski.
And that's what you put your boot on to flip it down, is it?
Flip it down.
Nice. Nice. Can you use your hand too, or does it require more strength?
No, you got to use your boot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, which is easy anyway, because you'll get a bit more leverage. So.
Yeah, and the trick is there's a really nice trick to engage it. Once the wheel is on the ground or on the pavement, the trick is the common mistake everybody does. They keep pushing down and down, and then at some point it's going to engage. But the trick is you got to, once it's down, you got to start pushing toward the bumper. So that's the trick. Right. You got to push toward the bumper and not down anymore. And then it just goes like butter. It's super easy.
That's cool. Just Fly Low, I think that is Jeff W. He said, yes, it is a roller ski. So there you go. I'll get him to give us his opinion on them, and we can read that out too. So he says, hey, Gary, I thought I would send you a couple photos this week. Some friends and I went for a ride Saturday during the snowfall, which left us a wonderful 12 inches of needed joy. We're getting more later in the week, so this should get us to the end of the season, sadly, which is March 31st. Well, that's when all the trails close anyway. Still can ride in the ditches. This is a photo of his 21 Renegade XRS 900 Turbo and a photo of the sled on Saturday's ride parked at Lucky's Tavern in Pequot Lakes for lunch. Great place to stop. I highly recommend it. Happy trails. Yeah, Just Fly Low said that's him, and he likes him a lot. And there they are. What do you think of that picture, Paul? Look at that yellow goodness, huh?
I love that. Not too shabby. At least they're snowmobiling. That's what counts.
Exactly. And I was going to say they might be waiting for their friends on the Polaris to catch up. Could they? Or maybe
I know that.
I'm just kidding you. There's
You
some
see,
nice
Gary,
words.
I'm trying to stay neutral, and then I don't have it. I don't have any color. I'm not yellow. I'm not blue. I'm not.
I know. I'm just reading off the notes that you sent me. You know.
Yep. And you know what? The funny thing, Gary, is that I don't know if we're probably going to talk about it a little bit later, but when we had the Polaris Ambassador ride in Temagami, Ontario, a couple of weeks ago, I was surrounded by Polaris guys. It was we were like 50, 60, 70 sleds. I'm maybe Paul knows exactly the number.
Yeah, it's about there. It was about 10. It was give or take that. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around 60 sleds, and then they were all Polaris for 99%. And I was wearing a John Deere cap the whole evening, just because I just wanted to stay neutral. So I was wearing a John Deere hat. Yeah,
that's great. You know what though? And I said it. I'll say it before. I'll say it again. The Polaris Ambassadors have been great to us here at Snowmobile Sessions. You don't have to ask them twice to come on the show. They're here. Nunzio is a great friend and a great rider, and I know he loves Koala Pieces products as well. And he had a whole crew on last year for us, and we'll definitely get them on again. And the Polaris ride, I did the poster for Nuns, so I am connected in that, and I've been invited to that ride, which I should get up and do it someday. Because this year they haven't had it for 2 years because of COVID, but this year it sounds like it was a huge success and they had a good time. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for doing the poster.
Hey, no problem. Anytime. Anytime. I will do it again for sure. So, and I even got a chance to ride a 650 XCR, which I've mentioned on the show before, but I think that's one of the highlights of my winter. I've been trying to get my butt on a 650 for a while, and I finally got to ride one, and it's impressive.
Yeah, you know, that's what I bought one of a VR1 650, and that thing really haunts the butt dyno. It's fast. She ain't no slouch, that's for sure, and good on gas and good on oil and all that good stuff too. So
yeah, you wouldn't know if you didn't tell anybody what you're riding. You know,
yeah, exactly.
But maybe right off the bottom, right? But once you get rolling, yeah. McKenna was ripping Massart's vintage on Saturday. That's great. Yeah, Wisco side chick. There she is with 3 fireballs. That's awesome. Yeah, so that's cool. So Wisco Sledheads, he says, sorry, Massart, I got Wisco's right up, and I probably pasted it over yours. Oh, well. He says another weekend of brapping in the books. He rode with Sexy Eyes. She enjoyed chasing me around northern Wisconsin. 2,200 miles for this season. That's about 3,600 clicks for you Canadian friends. And he gives us a tongue out emoji smiling. And he says, brap on. Yeah. Where did you go 3,000 kilometers last year? I wonder what if he's talking to someone in the chat or me. But Rob the oil guy in the house. So there we go. Like, look at that. Great trails still. That's the thing. Corey and I were riding on the weekend. We went from awesome, couple bad spots on the rail bed where there's, heat in the ground, probably from springs, or if there's a bridge over a creek or whatever, a tunnel, it was melted over that. But we're like blown away by the snow. And here we are, middle of March, And he said something about about Sexy Eyes taking a picture of him doing wheelies from the porch, and that's what that picture is there. That might have been in the there they are, the matching sleds. A Polaris and a Dew that match. How's that commitment, Paul?
That's pretty good. You get yep, there you go. You get each pick the same colors and different brands and good to go.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Polaris does look sweet though, let me tell you.
Yeah, it does. He's in my videos. He's in the intro. He pulls up, fist bumps me while we're rolling, and then he wheelies past me. So he loves that. He loves that there. I don't know what that picture is. Maybe just showing the trail conditions. Trails suck. Stay home. It says at the bottom.
Oldest trick in the book.
I was really bummed about not getting those treks on the new 850 because yesterday the trails were biting like crazy. Like we were railing at some good speed, 49 kilometers an hour, might have hit 49.7 kilometers an hour. And like we were really ripping yesterday and it was hooking up like crazy. And I was really bummed that I didn't have the treks on it to do that, but we'll see. We're going to get some good testimonials this weekend on those things. That's for sure. Look at that package, Paul.
Yeah.
Old Arctic. Yeah. And
that has something like that floating in its collection.
Yeah, that's the Panther, and it's got the cat cutter on the back for this.
You can't beat the leopard seat.
No, I know. Isn't that nice? It matches Wisco's underwear too.
Convenient.
And there we go. There's Mrs. Wisco and Wisco trying to start it. I think that was from last weekend. He sent that in, but you know.
Awesome. You don't need to have a new sled to have lots of fun.
No, that's right. That's right. I love that. Well, he just picked up that cat cutter last week or the week before. What a find though, huh?
Yeah, that has to be rare.
Wow. Total match to a sled. You know, he probably could have drove 10 hours and that would have been worth picking that thing up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and here's the kids having fun. I think these are last week's pictures.
Wow.
Chris Watson, look at that ribbon, huh?
That's nice. That looks fast.
Looks like a bowling alley, eh?
Yep.
That might have been from last week too. I'm not sure. There's no text on that one. These are Mark Kramer. These are last week's. I hope I didn't mess anything up. Hold on. We're going to keep going through here till we hit. Yeah, that's last week's. Last week's. Oh, Rusty Packer. That's a new one. Here we go. This is from last week. Hold on. But it's sent in during the show last week. I just hopped on the channel. He says, you're interviewing a stand tall guy, Steve Hamilton he's from the UP club we had on last week. We were there 2 weeks ago and he hooked us up. We rented 2 sleds from him and he told us where to ride. We'll be going back soon. Pics were taken at his shop and down the road from his shop. That cabin is amazing. When I opened that up, my wife was in the room and I said, holy cow, that's quite the lodge.
Yeah, I'd say. That's why we want to head to the UP next year. Hopefully we can make it out there. It looks awesome.
Yeah, I want to get there as well. I think it's cool. There's some neat photos they showed last week, and it really had a lot of, there's a lookout that looked kind of like Wolf Lookout, and it's
oh yeah.
Kind of neat. If you listen to that show from last week, he gives you a lot of the secret areas to ride.
Oh, awesome.
But there's another piston bully. We talked about groomers last week too, so that was a pretty cool show. And Steve Jens, that's a new one for today. He says Lake of the Clouds and Bond Falls. So this is from that show last week too. It's a follow-up. But look at that lookout.
Yeah, it's not too shabby.
Yeah. Because we were talking about where to ride and stuff in the UP and Wisconsin and that kind of thing. And there's a lot of good tips on last week's show. So make sure you check that out. It was an awesome show, and he is a stand-up guy. We had a really good time. Lots of good advice on riding and staying on trail and not blowing stop signs and all that good stuff. Awesome. Listen to in the car too. Paul, this is your time to shine.
Oh, wow. Perfect. No, that's that's us there. That's my son when he was about 4 years old on his little 120, the one that we're still popping wheelies on. And that's my wife. And that's his first time using the sled. So we put her on the back just to kind of help him guide. And they tipped it, and you can see she's awfully impressed, having a great old time. But he loved it. And that was his first real experience driving. And geez, that was probably 8 years ago now. And now he's a licensed driver and up to a 600. So that's how it all began, though, on that little 120. And now my daughter's driving it.
Here's a question for Kevin. Sorry, how fast do you ship? He needs a set before the weekend to keep up with the Smart Shot gang.
Yeah, sure. Well, you know where the rider is located?
He's near London.
Oh yeah, it's a 1-day delivery.
Oh, perfect. There you go. So we'll get you a coupon code, Grant, and you can hop on the website and get one on order. Yeah. Yep. Corey says, I'll wait for you, buddy. He won't. I know this. This is the Sexy Eye Sky Bridge.
Yeah, that's rest in peace, poor bridge. But that's my wife and daughter, and we went up there last year. We didn't cross it; we just went for the pictures. But we used to love that bridge with our Polaris Ranger and stuff like that. But I guess over the in the spring, somebody went with some chainsaws and cut out a few of the boards. So she's off limits now. But a lot of memories on that bridge, and who knows? I'm not sure if it'll ever get reconditioned, but it was good while it lasted. I didn't use it with the snow machines, but in the spring and summer it was awfully handy. But yeah.
Well, if you listen to my show from 2 weeks ago, you're gonna know what's gonna happen with that bridge.
I was watching the show with Joel and James there.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'd be awesome to see that bridge come back. But
it wouldn't it be great?
That's amazing. That's a big bridge.
I love that shot. I haven't seen deep snow shot like that on it too. Denon says, Gary, when's the fundraising kicking off? There we go. We're going to get Paul involved. Now I know Paul's a local guy. He's going to jump on the Sexy Eye Sky Bridge bandwagon, and we're going to really be able to tackle this thing from South
We'll get that sorted. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This one here, this was from last season also. That's behind Narren Center, between Narren Center and Espanola on the ice caves. If you go on the map, you'll see there's the attraction icon just past Narren Center. It's really cool, just a couple of miles off the main trail. You can climb up in there, and good photos, and it was a lot of fun.
Can you go in right there? Can you walk into it?
Yeah, you could go in. I was fooling around back there. It doesn't go back super deep, but you can definitely get in there and see the behind of water. And it was definitely worth the pit stop. We had a lot of fun on that ride last year.
That's pretty cool. Is that a VR1 or is that an Assault that you're riding there?
That one was an XC850, the 22 XC850, and then the XCR800.
What do you like? What's been your favorite one of recent years since the Matrix came out?
Well, my favorite one has to be the VR1. I really just like it. Like for what we do, we're always on groomed trails, and that's what that thing's made for, right? So it just handles the trails awesome, and they have that 7S display. So my wife and I each have a VR1 with the 7S, so it's so nice. I could see literally to the foot where she is relative to me on it. We download the maps are all on there. We plan our ride ahead of time, and then boom, it just keeps it so simple. And both sleds, they just ride so nice now with those Qualipieces carbides on them. It's you do 200-300 miles there, and it's like nothing. You come back home, and it's not like the old days. It's it's shocking how many miles you can do in such a little amount of time, and it just like nothing. So yeah, I really like the VR ones. But that 850, that was an awesome sled, and the XR is an awesome sled. It all depends on what you want to do, right? So.
Oh, for sure. Now, a lot of guys change out the Polaris skis, but with Koala Pieces, you're saying you don't need to do that.
No, I know not at all. With those Qualipieces carbides on there, I don't see any reason to change the skis. Maybe you're riding in different conditions than I am, but for my situation, it's a perfect combination. Those BR1s handled awesome in the first place, but with those carbides on them, it was definitely next level for sure.
It's funny that you bring that up, Gary, because and you know, a lot of writers are asking us sometimes at shows if they should if a lot of riders do have like CNA ski, or they call it the split rail ski, and other kind of aftermarket ski, so they're trying to fix like the cornering performance issue, because they feel like they don't have enough cornering, so they go with a different ski. And sometimes it's for anti-darting, but the thing is, like, carbides are just like tires. So if you keep your standard original OEM, for sure you're going to have lots of darting, depending on trail conditions again. But I would say that the very first thing you got to look for is really your carbide runner, because when you change your carbide runner for specialized carbide runner, then you can eliminate most of darting, and you can get real true hard cornering. The best example would be what's his name again, Paul? Colt. What's his last name? Colt
Russell.
Colt Russell, yeah.
Yeah, Colt Russell. He's one of the Polaris Ambassador in Ontario, and I met him for the first time at the Polaris Ambassador ride, and he was just like Paul, very skeptical about our products, about the adventure and the trek. And Colt was actually riding with CNA ski because he found that he was getting better grip in the trail. So we let him try the Pro Steer ski with the Adventure. Since that day, since he tried the Adventure, he never went back on the CNA.
There you go. Wisco Side Chick wants to know what your thought is, Paul, on the Polaris gripper skis.
Well, for my sleds, I always kept them basically out of the box. You know, like I said, I was always, for the trail riding I do and where I live, you know, I had no need to ever switch the skis out with my Polaris Ranger, I like to work on it and to modify, but on my Polaris Sled, I just tweak the suspension for my riding style. But I never have any experience with the gripper skis firsthand. So I wish I could be more helpful with that. I never felt the need to switch them over, but if she's looking for information, I could talk to the other ambassadors. I'm sure they would be able to definitely help with that.
I know Nunzio and what's his name again? Nunzio and Jason Sears. Both
Sears,
yeah. Both of them are Polaris Ambassador in Ontario, and both of them are riding the gripper. And I don't know the exact reason why. Same as you, Paul. Probably for floating. I know the gripper is going to be floating a little bit more than the Pro Steer is.
But I could definitely reach out to them.
I'm going to text Nuns right now. Very cool. This is very cool. Is this an Indy car, or what are we looking at here?
Well, that is so, it can't be snowmobiling all year. So I like to restore old cars, or in this case, build cars. So this one was actually all built from there we go. There we
go. Gripper skis are a huge improvement combined with adventure carbides.
Thanks, Nuns.
There you go, McKenna. You heard it. Nuns puts on massive miles too, McKenna. If anyone knows, Nunzio is the guy to trust. That's for sure. Sorry, go ahead, Paul. This isn't Nunzio's show. This is your show.
Yeah, so basically, I started this when the whole kind of pandemic started. It was, what I really liked about this, I restored a couple of muscle cars and stuff before, and, it's hard to find parts and lots of money. So this was literally started off in my garage as a pile of steel, and I'm lucky enough to have access to a CNC plasma cutter. So I was able to make all the brackets, at work, and welded it all up in the garage. And that's a Hemi. It's a Gen 3 Hemi, and it's converted with an Indy kit to carburetor and the aluminum valve cover, so it looks like an old-fashioned Hemi there. And it's a belly tank racer, so it's based off of the salt flats after World War II. When the guys came back, they had a bunch of these belly tanks off World War II planes kicking around, and they would go to Bonneville and places like that and go for top end runs. So the body for that, it's a P38 gas tank, belly tank. So the frame's all done now. I'm just saving up some money to get the body painted, and hopefully it'll be completed there by in the next few months or so. So that kept me out of trouble for a while when there was no snow.
That is very cool. And it's drum brakes on the back, is it?
Yeah, just drum brakes, and it's quick change rear end, a winter's quick change, and it's a 727 transmission. It was tight to get all that stuff in there because it's not that big of a car with that big Hemi. Guys used to do that with flatheads or 4 cylinders. So to have the Hemi in there with the 727 made for some packaging challenges, but it turned out good, and it was a heck of a lot of fun, and got the kids in the garage once in a while, and it's something unique. You don't see too many of those in Northern Ontario, so it was a fun project.
That is really neat. You should put some skis on the front with some adventure carbides. And
there we go.
See how it goes.
Put some tracks in the back. It would be fast anyways, I'll tell you that much.
That is neat. So send us pictures when that's done. That's a wicked project.
Sounds good. We'll do for sure.
Yeah. Just Fly Low says that thing will burn rubber with the throttle closed.
Oh yeah.
have you driven it much?
No, not yet. It runs. That one I started up. It runs and everything, but haven't tried it yet as far as outside the garage, anyways. But I'm sure it would honk pretty good. Everything was handmade. Not a single thing I had to buy for that. Only thing I picked up was the seat. Everything else, the pedals, everything was all 100% custom on it. So
are you a shop teacher in school? Is that what you kind of do, or is it just a hobby?
It's more of a hobby. I'm the co-op teacher, and I do teach one section of shop, but we have a couple of really, really qualified, really good shop teachers at our school, Serge and Kirk, and they do a great job of that. It's kind of help out more. But yeah, they're the ones that take care of that. It's more of a hobby for me.
Yeah, right on. Good work. Good quality construction there. And is this your school here?
Yeah, exactly. So that was a fun project we did this spring. We at our school we're really good for pushing the trades, so we were able to get some money to promote the skilled trades. And then just at the same time, so basically going back, it was almost a year ago when the trails were shutting down, I met Doug Burrell from the Valley Trail Masters, and we had a few students go out there and help tear down the we have some fences and stakes on the golf course and this local sod farm. So we had a few students go up there, and they were telling us how they'd really like a warm-up shot at the intersection of 56 and C111D. Yeah. And it was around that time we were doing the application, and me and the guys were thinking, like, what can we do with the kids to get them engaged and all this? And then this whole thing with the warm-up shack came up. So we were lucky enough we got the grant. And our school just switched to a 7 to 12 school. So basically, to make a long story short, in October this year, we would take kids, from 7 to 12. We bring them into the shop. That warm-up shack has basically a trailer for the foundation, so we could bring it in out of the bush. We had students welding, cutting the steel, grinding. Then we did all the framing. There's solar panels in that thing, so we got to show students how to do electrical, roofing, soften and fascia. Even the fireplace, that's kind of like the belly thing. Everything on that is from scratch, from the floor, the trailer, even the fireplace we cut on the CNC. So the students, we had over 80 students that got their hands dirty and built that, and something they could really be proud of. And it's been used a lot this winter, so it was a fun project.
Right on. And that's what Joel talked about that last weekend. And this is the students he was talking about.
Yeah, that's some of them. There's over 80 altogether. Some of them at that point went back inside, but yeah, there's 80 of them, like I said, from 7 to 12. And it was really cool. Some of these kids never picked up a hammer before, so to get them in the shop and to see what it's all about, you know, it really opens her eyes to the different job opportunities out there. And some of these guys are also hardcore snowmobilers, so it's nice at a young age they can give back to the trail system that's done so much for them.
Is this one of the schools where the kids ride their sleds to school?
Yeah, we're one of those schools. We always have a few of them that show up on their sleds and in their quads in the summer. And like I said, lots of gearheads there. And, you know, that's what we're always trying to engage those guys, right? Because that's how we were in high school. So, you know, we wish we could do some of this stuff back in our day. So it's nice that they get to do this. This school it's called Bishop Alexander Carter Catholic Secondary School in Hanmer. And yeah, we're growing up to almost 700 students now. And we're always looking for the next project to keep these guys busy in the shop. So
yeah, I don't know if you were planning on showing some pictures of the sled day as well, Gary, or
did you send me some of those as well?
Yeah, we got a couple from there too.
Sure.
Okay.
So there's
did you see any drastic changes of kids that really surprised you through that project?
Well, I definitely seen kids, like I said, that, you know, had really no interest in really that kind of stuff, and then they did it and they're like, oh wow, this is a lot of fun, and they want to do it some more, you know, and then they were disappointed. When can we go work on it again? Like, well, we only got one thing right now, right? So but actually Doug is
you got the Sexy Eye Sky Bridge they're going to work on next year.
Yeah, exactly. About to take them on location, but we're working. Doug is working on doing some proposals there, and hopefully we get some more money from either, you know, somewhere, and we want the kids to build a couple more for the club if we happen to get the funds, because yeah, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, right on. No, good work. That's a great project. So he's Bobby O says he's a barber, and these young kids don't know what to do after graduation from high school. We tell them do a skill trade. So he gives you a big thumbs up. That's great.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah,
like, that's another thing. You probably have no idea, and they probably don't know how it impacted them yet, except one day in 10 years, they'll go, you know what? My teacher, Mr. Paul, he taught me this, and, you know, it'll come back in spades for sure.
Yeah, hopefully.
What are we doing here, Paul?
Well, this was a big day. This is my son, Mason. He was the one that was off the snow machine in the very first picture. Now he's 12. And that's Colt. He's another Polaris Ambassador. And this was a couple months ago, maybe. He was picking up his first sled. He saved up money for years and years. And he had an old 90 Sport before that. And he liked snowmobiling, but he wasn't a super big fan of the 1990 technology. So he wanted something a little newer. So we drove up to Colt's place and picked up this Indy 600. And he's been loving it ever. Like, really loved that sled. Lots of miles, and can't get him off it. And he has a new Cutvec wrap for it there that we got from Kendall Performance. So we're going to be putting that on in the spring. He wasn't really feeling the pink as much, but yeah, we're going to wrap it and get it all cleaned up. But a great sled, and yeah, he absolutely loves it. So that was a big day for him. Like I said, very proud because you know, he saved up his own money for that sled. So that was a big day for him.
Very cool. And he'll ride 50 kilometers an hour or less on that, right?
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. 50 or less.
Cops.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, my dad's a police officer, retired police officer. So you know,
nice.
But speaking of police officers, so here we are at Sled Days, and that's Kevin up front. Kevin came all the way in from Quebec there to speak to our students. So Sled Days is an initiative that we started at our school years ago. Serge Remillard started it, and with the local police, they're really vital in this whole thing. And then we unfortunately had to stop with COVID, and then last year we were able to start it up again, and I started organizing it, and it just kind of blew up. This year we had, I would say, at least 40 students for day one. So it's a 2-day thing. The first day, it's all about training, and the second day is a ride. So in the morning, the police officers came in, Constable Tremblay, and we had an M&R officer also, and they spoke to the kids. And it's really good because they're not talking down to them or anything like that. You know, they're just giving them the facts, you know, and maybe it's just the way we do things now where it's not an in-class session to get their license, or maybe they just forget. But, you know, they don't really know some of the basics, right? Like, they don't understand when we live here in especially in the Valley, there's no crown land. You know, it's all private. it's all private property. We have 278 landowners just in the valley. So these guys, you know, they go boondocking and, you know, they don't really realize that that's somebody else's land and we're losing trails because of that. Or they don't understand why they can't have a loud can on their sled and stuff like that. So the police come in and tell it to them straight, but are nice about it. You know, so, and it gives them something to talk to, right? To have any questions. The students had tons of questions. It was good. Normally we do stuff like this and they're very quiet, not like this, but, you know, in class, right? You have questions, they don't say anything, but they had tons of questions. And then in the afternoon, Kevin came in and talked to him about the importance of having, you know, good carbides, proper carbides, why it's important, and the whole safety aspect of it. So that was really good. And then after Kevin's presentation, we went to the shop. We did a little sled clinic with them, and we gave away a bunch of prizes. We had some really nice sponsors, really nice stuff from our sponsors. Qualipieces obviously helped us out. Royal Distributing, Polaris gave a ton of stuff. Mid-City Motorsports. And DG Power Sports in Sturgeon Falls. And so every kid walked away with a goodie bag from Polaris. And then Kevin gave away a set of carbides and scratchers. We had the helmets. It was crazy. For a free thing, these kids walked away like bandits. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And hopefully, again, right, it's all about safety, but we're also trying to teach them the importance of, you know, staying on the trails and all that stuff so that we can continue to have our sport, you know, for years to come.
Well, and that's the thing. They talked about that, James and Joel, a few weeks ago, and that it is, you know, there's not a lot of crown land, but you think it would be because you're out in the middle of God's country and there's nothing around for miles. And this is great. You educate the kids when they're young and tell them why you shouldn't ride off trail and why you shouldn't have a can and all that kind of stuff. But McKenna also says her school pushed for needing a college education in order to be successful. It's great teachers like you, Paul, that help make it known that you're just as successful, not more in the trades. Keep it up. There you go. Isn't that a nice thing to say?
That's very nice. Thank you very much. But it's definitely, you know, definitely true. There's, I was the same way when I was in high school. Nobody talked about the trades. And I didn't know what a millwright was until my buddies became one, you know. So, you know, it's nice now that the school they're very open to that. And, you know, it's not one thing's better than the other. It's what do you want to do? You know, and here's the best route to take to get to that goal.
Yeah, that's right.
It was really impressive. And talking about the sled day, when we first got invited by Paul, we immediately say yes. And what, you know, what was really nice, Gary, about that day? I was there for the first day, for the training day. And what was really nice is that they were actually teaching the next generation, the next sledder generation, on how to have like good behavior in the trail, which is really nice. The police were Sudbury police was teaching, okay, what do you need for permit? What do you need for your sticker, for your trail pass? Where do you put your trail pass? And the funny story. Can you tell Paul about the ice bucket challenge, challenge, and the matches challenge?
Yeah. So basically, the MNR, they had a student to demonstrate what happens when you get cold. They had a student. So basically, said, "Who do you think who thinks they're super tough in this room?" So a kid, obviously a guy, raised hand. Oh, I'm super tough, right? So all right, come on up here. And the MNR officer had prepared a bucket of snow that was melted. Freezing cold. So, all right, let's see how long you have your hands in this bucket for. Meanwhile, they go off to another student who hasn't had frozen hands and light a match, right? Lights a match, no problem, lights a candle. Then after about a minute, the kid in the ice water had enough of that. Then the officer gives him the match. It's all right. Now like that. And then it's like, ooh, it wasn't, you know, he thought he was going to do it like nothing, but he found out really quick that, you know, just a minute of being exposed to that water, that was it, right? So it was nice because it's not just telling, you know, what's going to happen. These kids actually got to demonstrate and see firsthand what happens when you get yourself in a situation like that. So the officers do a really, really good job. And without them, it wouldn't be possible to do this whole thing, right? So really appreciate their help.
I love that because it's way beyond, you know, signing up and getting your snowmobile license at 12 years old and just knowing the basics of riding and what it is and what the speeds are and, you know, what things to watch for, what a stop sign is and, you know, the rules of the trail. This is way beyond that. It's more about a respect of the ride, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they say. Trail etiquette. That's a big thing they're pushing, trail etiquette.
I'm trying to get the police on here for a week, and we came close, but it'll have to be next season now. But I think that's really important because if you look at the one video where my son got busted doing 101 in a 50, it's the comments on it are all very negative, but it's not like that. I've talked to the guys, the two officers since, and they're very good guys. They have their lives of their own as well, and if you hear them talk and educate you on what's going on, I'd love to have someone like that on the show. So even if you have in with these guys, let me know, Paul, because I'd love.
Oh yeah, I got a guy for sure that I'm sure Constable Tremblay would be more than happy to come on.
Awesome, that's great. Yeah, see, Denon even agrees that OPP would be awesome guests. I really respect them on the trails. 9 out of 10 times are doing nothing but the best, and that's true. I agree too. Fully support them. So let's chat about that.
Yeah.
Look at this. I said last week, if someone doesn't like an old Polaris wedge, they need to be smacked.
Yeah, so that one, we got the 650 underneath, and that 99, that back in the day, that was my absolute favorite sled. I bought that off my uncle. It only had 75 miles. I was just a kid, probably a year or two out of high school, and I bought that sled. I absolutely loved it. You go around the corner, and it would just lift up the inside ski a little bit. And that's when the Edge X was coming out, right? So that's why I copied it with the yellow trailing arms and the yellow stickers and all this stuff. But so anyways, the funny thing with that sled is I was getting married. So I found a really good deal on an XCR 800. So I sold that sled and I drove the XR, which I also love. But a few years later, well, actually quite a few years, probably 10 years later, my buddy Adam calls me up and says, I think I found your old XC. And I go on Kijiji, and sure enough, there's this old XC with yellow stuff on it, right? So I was like, well, that has to be mine. So go to see it. The guy wanted $1,200, and the thing was only gone for 10 years, but he only put 2,000 miles on it. But I have no idea. I think he spent about 20,000 miles behind a truck getting covered in salt, because it was, everything was just rusted and the aluminum was all crapped out. And so anyways, I'm like, all right, well, I was using my heart, not my head. So I bring it back home, and it starts off. I'm just gonna paint the exhaust, and I'll just change a couple bolts. Anyways, by the time it was all said and done, it was stripped down to just the tunnel and the bulkhead, and everything else was torn apart. And I rebuilt the engine, got all the shocks done. It was going to be my trail sled. But then, as you can see, I ended up deciding just to put it on the shelf. So
that's cool.
Following my dad's footsteps, put it on the shelf, forget it. But it's all ready to go again. It's somebody one day might drive it, but that back in the day, that was a sweetheart. It was good to get her back, but it took a long time to make her look half decent again.
Wow, that's cool. And what's even more impressive about this photo is you can see how small that car is that you're building in the back.
Yeah.
It's the size of a sled, for crying out loud. That thing is a ripper.
Yeah, the car is about 12 feet from tip to tail. So, the body is, the frame's even shorter. So yeah, not much leg room in it.
Yeah, wow. What's the one on the bottom there? The sled.
That's my dad's. He restored that one. That's a really nice, did really nice restorations. In 1990 650 Indy. It's all stock. That one we're going to be hanging up. That's hopefully over the next couple of weeks. The plan is to build a shelf and stick it next to the XC up there. But one of the best sounding sleds ever made right down there. I remember I used to love that sled because my uncle had one brand new. And I remember him racing the Wildcats. My dad's cousin had a Wildcat, and my uncle had the 650. I was just a kid. I was 9 years old, watching that thing fly down the lake there. And I'll never forget that, the way that sounded and the way that thing just flew. It was an awesome sled. So
that's cool.
Another retired one, but it runs if you want it to run.
Wow. And last question about this photo. What is the car with the racing stripes? Is that a Vet?
Oh, that's a Viper. The only thing that comes close to my love for Polaris is my love for Mopars. So
nice.
Yeah, that car was that one. It was something I wanted since 1992, and when my kids were done daycare, I could finally swing it. And I got to thank my beautiful wife Stephanie. It's her birthday in 2 days. she puts up with a lot of time in the garage and lots of lots of different things. So thank you very much, darling, and happy birthday. But yeah, she really lets me get away with a lot. So appreciate that.
Well, I was gonna say it doesn't look like you have room, so I'll take the race car and put it in my garage. But I think I have more room for your Viper actually.
There you go.
You just have to leave me the keys so I can move it around as I need to. You know, if I have to get the lawnmower out or something. You know.
I'll have to come by Sudbury one day there, swing by.
I'd love to, man. For sure, I'll be up there. So that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so this one is another one of our summer toys is the Polaris Ranger. We had a Ranger since 2010, and this is the latest one we have. And we just, we really like it, and we love the Ranger, right? 6 seats. So that's my daughter having the ball with the rubber boots playing in the water there. And lots of my buddies have Rangers and other side-by-sides or quads. So just a lot of fun in the summer. And that's, like I said, that's one thing I like. Like I said, I don't really touch the sleds much for doing stuff too, but that I'm going to build a nice rack for the back and a roof rack and, change up the tires and, just have some fun and, fabricating stuff for it. So we starting now in the spring, but yeah, we're always on the Ranger in the summertime. In the winter, it's plowing. So it's works really good for us. And the kids really love it. They're packed the cooler and the barbecue and away you go. And you see what you can see.
That's awesome. And Sudbury's got lots of opportunities to ride. That's for sure.
Yeah, lots of same things. Had to be careful with the trespassing because of the crown land, but lots of nice trails up here. Do the whole summer without doing the same trail twice.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely lots of fun. This one here, this is another thing we did this year with the students. We took a full bus. There was 54 students. We took to the Toronto show, the Toronto International Snowmobile and ATV show.
Really, a bus trip?
Oh,
That's awesome.
Yeah. We filled it up. So the organizer was nice enough. He let us go a little bit early, and the stunt performers were warming up. So they let the students check out their warm up. But, that was another thing, right? To show the students the different opportunities are in manufacturing and in tourism industry. And you see, all these different processes, right? Of how they make different things and the difference between different brands and all that good stuff. So it was really eye-opening for them. I think they all had a lot of fun, and it was, such an impressive show. And it was nice, again, a thing that kind of got put on the back burner because of COVID. So it was nice to be back at the show and the show being on again. It gives the students, again, it shows what's out there, the opportunities that are out there. It's just not to go there for the day and, it's obviously to have fun, but it's also to learn and to see the different things that you can do. So fun was had by all, and we came back with all 54 kids. So that was always a bonus.
That's awesome. Where were you as a teacher when I was in school, man? Holy, this is great.
Well, we're super lucky because we have, really good, like our principal, that the people at the school board, and my fellow teachers that do a lot to make this all happen, right? So if any one of those, we didn't have that, none of this would happen. So So this is just my daughter. She's she's on the 120 now. She's getting a little big for it, but she'll be moving on to the sport probably next year or the season after. But again, right, she's been on that thing basically as long as she could have a helmet on. And we were just gone to my buddy's camp this weekend with it, and she burnt a tank and a half of gas in it, and she just loves it. Like you said, never too young, never too old to start sledding, and it's nice to break them in young and to see what it's all about. So there she is, rocking the sled and having a great time.
That's pretty crazy. Polaris Dragon Mini. I love it.
Yeah, no 09.
Yeah, those things are you going to keep it for grandkids, or are you is that something you'd flip, or where do you see the history of that thing going?
Well, actually, that's not even my sled. That's my dad's sled. When we first had I think my son was probably barely a year old, and my dad sends me a Kijiji link to an 09 Dragon 120. I'm like, oh yeah, nice sled. He's like, yeah, I just bought it. I'm like, you bought that? He's like, yeah, it's going to be for Mason, and then one day it'll be for the other kids. So now the plan is, once my brother has 2 girls, so once we're done with it, it's going to go on to my 2 nieces, and then from there, I guess who knows? That's going to be all the way because my niece is only 3, the youngest one. So that thing still has another 10 hard years of service in front of it before it's going to be going anywhere. So yeah, this was my son. This is his first ride this year as a licensed driver. So he just got his license in the fall there. And that's a 1990 Sport. That was my father-in-law's machine. He bought that brand new in 1990. So he's been dinking around with that sled in the backyard and at people's camps for the last couple of years. But that was his first voyage on the Groom Trail system. And what was crazy about that, I was very proud of him because, you know, I'm not sure what happened that day, but the trails were like cow paths from our backyard. The whole place we couldn't find a smooth trail to save our lives. The lakes were all slush. It was freezing rain the whole time, so you couldn't, you know, your visor's all freezing up. You know, it's like everything, you know, normally you go for a ride, you might have one of those things, but it was slush, bumps, freezing rain, and then he broke a rail and we didn't notice. So you get home, it's like, you know, the thing rides rough. I'm like, oh, that's weird. I mean, I used to drive a 90-400 and it was fine. But anyways, he did 160 clicks that day, 100 miles. It took forever. You could see it's dark out when we got back home. It was a short ride for our standards, but it took us 8 hours. But he survived that, and he was looking forward to the next weekend. So that was his first big ride, and it was a good test for him. It was early season. That's why normally the trails are always super nice up here. It was just, you know, I think they're still yellow, so they were just freshly open. To be expected, but the slush and the freezing rain was kind of what put it over the edge. But yeah, he made it, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then after that, that's when he upgraded to his 600.
But Gary, you should see the sled in person. The first time I saw that sled, it was at the Polaris Ambassador ride. This sled, that picture is not. I'm hoping we'll see a different picture of that sled, because this sled is just like coming out of a museum.
Really,
it's just like the condition of that sled is just like you're pulling off a plastic from the sled, and it's brand new. It's phenomenal.
Well, I can see the bumper, and the bumper is straight. And on those old Polaris wedges, that's a very rare occurrence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's the Ambassador ride there.
I can't even show this picture because you're making my ride look small. Well, that's monogamy shore. Sorry, that's not Sportsman's. You're okay.
We're good, okay. Yeah. I can see the little wedge in the background. I let my buddy, right? So that's what I like with this Ambassador thing. I like letting other people try my sled. So one of my other buddies who's been out of the sport for a while, I let him drive my VR1, and I got to drive the Sport for 135 miles that day, just like the good old days, like I was in high school again. But yeah, this was our Polaris Ambassador ride. It was it's Monogamy Shores, like you mentioned, and I really got to give props to the other ambassadors. You know, Nunn, Scott, Jay, Colt. They were planning this for 3 years before I even became an ambassador. But then COVID kept, you know, their COVID restrictions in the winter all the time. They couldn't do it. So this was our first year getting to do it. We had a ton of sleds, a ton of guys, you know, everybody, Polaris and a bunch of dealers stepped up and donated a ton of prizes. We were able to do a raffle, and we raised $4,000 for the local club. They built a nice little outhouse with the money. So, you know, it was a great day. Again, everybody made it back. We had a nice dinner and little kind of prize giveaway at the end. So next year we're going to be having a meeting probably sometime this week to talk about next year, how we can make it, you know, even better next year. But I think everybody went and had a lot of fun, and it was definitely a big success. Like I said, I got to really thank those other ambassadors, because they're the ones that have been planning this for 3 years. So it was finally good to see their vision come to light and let me be a part of it. It was quite the honor.
And there's cool. really like a synergy between those 5 Polaris ambassadors. Like this is something that really that impressed me that weekend, that brotherhood in between those guys, and exchanging about their sled, exchanging about the way they've adjust their sled, and they're getting the best out of it. That there's really something going on. Well, in Ontario with the 5 Polaris ambassadors, it was a very special weekend, even for us. We were kind of learning the market and learning what guys were looking for in terms of experience, and it was quite something.
And thanks to Kevin. Kevin came all the way up for that event too, and it was changing skis all weekend, so the guys can try out their awesome products. And yeah, in the snowbank, giving her the whole time. Everybody else is having fun, and he's having fun too, but working at the same time there with the tools in hand, and really showing what those Koala Piece units can do. So thanks a lot, Kevin, again for coming out to that too. So that was great.
Yep.
I think it's an awesome thing you're doing, Kevin. I mean, to do all these trials, and you let people swap their carbides or skis out, and then away they go, and they can ride them for a few K and decide if they like them or not. And I think in the most cases, from what I hear, is people like them. So you end up with a lot of evangelists on the products and true fans, right?
Well, actually, yes. Well, that's what we're trying to accomplish. And most riders are very skeptical about what they're going to get, putting a little bit more money going for specialized products, specialized carbide runner, let's say, compared to the standard OEM runner. Even Paul was pretty skeptical at first, and when he tried a product, he's like, it's the same for everybody. It's like the standard OEM you get on your machine, whether you're riding a Ski-Doo, a Polaris, Arctic Cat, or Yamaha. When you're riding standard OEM, if you compare with tire, it's just like you would be driving summer tire. Mm-hmm. So you still can go through winter with summer tire, but you're never going to get the same experience as if you're driving with winter tire. You'll have more grip, you'll have more performance on ice, you'll have better confidence when you're driving. It's the same thing with carbide runners. So the best way for us to reach that point is to have riders try the product. And actually, this idea of coming up to that event with preset like adventure and trek carbide runner on skis, it was not from us. It was actually from one of our Ontario dealer. It might be from Energy Power Sport actually.
Oh, cool.
That suggested that we should have riders. We should have preset skis with a preset carbide already installed, so that way we just swap the skis, and the guys can see by themselves with their own machine, with their own suspension setup, the difference. And I can tell you, Gary, 95% of the time, just like Paul did and Nunzio did and other Ski-Doo guys did, once they try specialized product, never ever they go back to the standard OEM for anti-darting, just for the grip. Never ever.
One thing I'm blown away by is Colt Russell was a big Bergstrom fan, and he's loving your product.
Yeah, well,
that's amazing.
Colt Russell was a big Bergstrom fan, and he was also riding CNA ski. He was big on CNA ski. They're probably the best quality ski on the market right now in terms of the thickness of the ski, and it's a really good product. And but the number one thing you'll have to look at if you want to get really good cornering, anti-darting, that bad feeling in the end of the day when the trail gets bad and you're kind of losing control, your sled is just going everywhere from left to right. Well, that feeling you can get rid of it. That's the thing. And then the Polaris Ambassador ride, that's perfect weekend to have like guys like Paul, like Nunzio, try the products and then give us feedback about the product.
Yeah, that's great. Love it.
Wow. That's a nice picture.
Photo. It is.
Wow.
Really
thanks.
Kevin wants that one for the Kevin wants that one for the website.
Well, this one should be this one actually should be on the Polaris cover somewhere.
Yeah, that was a fun ride. We went. That's behind Chelmsford. Back when we were in high school, we used to canoe down there. The Whitson River is right behind those trees, so we used to canoe there. So we stopped there for a little break this winter, and there's a little rest area there with a fire pit and a washroom. So everybody's taking the pit stuff. So I thought I'd take a picture. So those are our two sleds we're riding this year: the the gray ones, the 850 VR 137, and the black or orange and teal ones, the 129 with the 650, another VR one. And yeah, my wife and I just absolutely love those sleds. Like I said, I think overall, probably our two favorite sleds we ever had for sure. And putting on a lot of miles this winter, which is great. And like we said, once we added those carbides on them, it was amazing sled right out of the box. But I mean, it was definitely a difference with the new ones. Was no whoever puts those Qualipieces carbides on, not going to be disappointed. No matter how awesome your sled is out of the box, there's definitely it's like Kevin said, right? The OEM carbides are fine but Polaris or Skidoo, nobody knows what kind of trails or conditions you're going to be in, right? So
yeah,
you have to tweak that carbide to match your riding style and your conditions. It really makes a huge difference. So anyways, that's our fleet for this year. And
yeah. When you go on the website, Kevin, is this gauged to help you decide which one's right for you on there as well?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. And the two, it's pretty much always the same for trail products. The Adventure and the Trek are always the two top best products. Adventure a little bit more for Adventure a little bit more for cornering. And even though it eliminates lots of darting, but the Trek is really the top best product for anti-darting. And we're having really good feedback with the Trek. It's a new product since 2 years now, but we're having a phenomenal, as you could see, Gary, from the comments from some Skidoo guy, like a top hard rider, that the guys that rides like from 5 to 10,000, even more than 10,000 kilometers a year. The Trek seems to be a really nice product, really good product for a Skidoo guy. Since 2 years now, we're having really good comments.
Yeah, that's great. And qualipieces.com, I put that up on the screen.
Yep.
Is the website there, and make sure you check it out. It's a great site for sure.
So this is just behind the railway bed, going close to Skeed, and that's just a little group shot. It's one of our main riding partners are the Dixons, Bernie and Alicia. I've been friends with Bernie since high school, and that's kind of the thing that I really do the sled days and stuff like this too, because all of my best friends are 90% of my best friends in this life all have something to do with snowmobiling. Like Bernie and my other buddy Adam, I think we'll see a picture, still from high school. We're still hanging out because of the snowmobiles. We got our kids there, my daughter's there, my son, his two sons, they're hardcore sliders. We went out, we did the Wolf Loop the other day. We came back to my place for some lunch, and his kids come over, and the first thing they do is they go on YouTube and they put on snowmobiling videos after snowmobiling all day. So that's the kind of gearheads they are. But we had a really, lots of fun with those guys over the years, and it's cool. We just came back from their camp this weekend, and that's what he texted me back. More memories, so we're always making memories and with the kids and the wives, and so it's just snowmobiling is really awesome for that, to bring people together and make memories that are going to last a lifetime.
Yeah, so just fly low. What does easy to ride mean, Kevin? Does it mean easy to steer in the corners?
Well, easy to ride would be how stiff your steering is going to be. So let's say the more aggressive you'll have something for cornering, usually the more stiff you'll have something for your shoulder and your arm, and so that's how easy ride is. So when you're looking, let's say for the Traveler, so the Traveler would be like the standard OEM. If you go, a little bit more, yeah. So the Traveler, so this one is just like the standard replacement carbide runner you'll find everywhere on the market. So the red would be cornering, yellow would be anti-darting, and blue would be easy to steer. So it's almost up to the top for blue, because the Traveler, the round, standard, regular runner replacement, this is something that it makes your sled super easy to steer in any condition, no matter it's a hard pack trail, No matter if you just got like 4, 5, 6 inches of snow, so it's super easy to steer. So that's what we mean by easy to steer. And then if you go a little bit on the rush, if you go right on the rush, yep, this one here.
Oh wow.
The rush would be just like the adventure here, but without the plate here, without the plate. So only this part here would be a little bit like probably some of the viewers know the shaper bar.
Yep.
So it's a very aggressive product. So you can see easy to steer. You can see the easy to steer on your box. It's 1 on 5. So when you have those for cornering, they're the top. They're the best for cornering. This one here. But for easy to steer, it makes it way, way harder to steer in any condition.
Yeah.
It makes it way stiffer to steer, but you'll have pretty good, really good cornering performance because it's deep and it's square.
Yeah.
So that's why the adventure works really good, because you combine both with the plate in front of it. It's gonna flat down the snow, and it makes it super smooth for steering, and you still have that bite. A little bit like the shaper bar. A lot of people know the shaper bar shaper bar from Studboy. Shaper bar is a pretty good product. It's when you look at the carbide itself, the durability, it has like really good durability, just as us. But the difference is really with the plate we've got in front of the runner. That makes the whole difference. It's a day and night difference, because you get best of both worlds. Bite, really good bite, and anti-darting, really nice anti-darting. So you're not fighting anymore.
Nice. Yeah, it's good. I love that ranking. It makes it easy to pick. That's for sure. I don't think anyone could go wrong with the adventure by the look at the scale on that box. I love this polar bear. Where's it?
So that's right downtown Cochrane. We headed up there a couple weekends ago, and we did the Abitibi Canyon loop, and definitely kept it right around that 49 3/4 mark, that whole loop. But man, those trails were something else. That was a ton of fun. We went up there again with Bernie and Alicia, and it was a nice little couples trip. The weather was perfect. The trails were amazing, and on our way back to the hotel, my wife spotted the polar bear there, so she wanted to get a picture for her photo album. So swung by there and got one last picture before taking the rest of the night off. But yeah, definitely something everybody has to do once if you like snowmobiling. You have to head to Cochrane.
How come I've never seen this picture before? The polar bear. No one's ever taken a picture with it. Isn't that wild?
Well, there you go. First time for everything, eh?
Yeah.
There's an old school one. That's my first ever sled. So that's a 1993 Indy Starlight. The story with that was back when I was 9, my parents made me a deal. They said, if you could save up half the money for that sled, by the time you're 11, we'll pay for the other half. So from 9 till 11, I saved up all my birthday, Christmas, shoveled driveways, mowed lawns, did all that good stuff. And then finally in March of 1992, I got to go to the shop, the Polaris dealer at the time, and I put a $500 deposit down on the Starlight. And then in my birthday is in September 25th, there she was. I went to go pick her up, and that's where my love for Polaris all began, on that little 250. But it was a fun machine, and my dad's Indy Trail Deluxe in the background there. He got that in '91. I spent thousands of miles on the back of that thing, so it was fun to finally jump on my own machine and cut up the trails.
Here's a Skidoo in your picture.
There's a Skidoo. Yeah, well, that's it. It's that's my buddy Adam. That's in high school. So after the Starlight, I graduated to an Indy 400. And
that was a rocket. That was a rocket back then too. A buddy had an Indy 400.
Yeah, they went really good there on on the Speedo. On a really good day, get close to 100 on it, and had had a lot of fun. Like I said, my high school buddies, he's still one of my best friends today, still ride with him to this day. But that's where it started off on a 400 and a Safari, So it was, we came a long way, but geez, back almost 30 years ago, we were doing pretty good there. And but yeah, lots of fun on that little 400.
Yeah, sweet. I love the color. I've never seen him in all red like that. That's really neat.
I'm wearing the same, my dad's wearing the same coat. So this was actually on Thursday when I was late for the meeting. I was with my dad and my son and my daughter, my wife, but my dad's the one, Ivan, he's the one that got me into this and into cars and all that good stuff. So, without him, I definitely wouldn't be the same person I am today. So it's been a couple of years since he went out. He'd never tried the Matrix before. I said, you got to try this thing. So he jumped on my Sled, the 850, and my son was on the 600. So I got to drive the Sport again. And that's my son, Mason. His middle name is Mopar. So, anyways, it's really cool. 3 generations of Mayus, on 3 generations of Polaris. It was just nice. He's almost, all these years we're still snowmobiling together. So that's what's cool. Even at, he's not a spring chicken anymore, but the new sleds with the riding style, he did that loop and he wasn't sore at all after. So that was really cool. It was good to get him back on the trail and first time on the trail with my son riding his own sled. So pretty special night.
That's cool. You got to get him into a better helmet now.
Yeah.
Now that he's got a little laser on.
Well, that's it. That jacket was the same one I was wearing in that 400 back in like 1995. So that helmet's about the same thing. So
it is.
The Mustang water suit.
He wears it better than you.
Yeah, he pulls it off better for sure. So, but yeah, it was cool to get back on the trail with the crew chief, as I call him. So it was a fun night.
That's awesome. Your son's spoiled wearing that onesie.
Yeah, well, that's it. We had a hard time finding a floater suit for him, and Royal had their no tax sale, so yeah, he's lucky, but rather keep him safe, right?
Yeah,
spend a couple extra bucks.
You should have made him wear what you wore when you were 12 for first learning to ride.
Well, see, I didn't know my dad still had that coat. Otherwise, yeah, I could have saved us some money for sure. It's still in good shape, it looks like. So yeah, that would have worked.
Hey, old guys never throw anything away. You should know that.
No, exactly. That's it. So yeah, that's that 400 again. That was a 1991 400. That was the first sled after the Starlight. It was fun sled and I really liked the red seat on it there and the red windshield. It was fun little sled. Lots of good memories on that sled for high school. I used to do the local newspapers. So I would take my sled every day to go do the papers, and then when it was time to need gas money, go do collect and get my $6 from each person and go fill up the tank and go with the boys on the weekend and have some fun.
Yeah, no kidding. What's under the cover with the Craigers?
That was my dad had a 74 Camaro Z28.
Oh, geez, you're killing me, man. That's awesome.
You got a good eye, buddy. Good eye.
Yeah, nice.
So then what happened was there's a picture coming up. So I had the 91 400, then I had an XLT, but I never really got to drive it because I traded it for a car. So then I got this 1990 400, and that was right around 2000 when Polaris had their anniversary edition with the red trailing arms. So I fixed that sled up, polished it, running board, painted the trailing arms red, put the little Indy sticker like they had on the anniversary editions, the red windshield again, and the stripe off the 90. But it was still a fun sled. I was rocking 400s all through high school, basically.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's the XC500. Sweet.
Yeah, that was a 5. That's one I had before. That one I had it for 1 year, and then I sold it and bought this 700 that's on the shelf now, but I gave that the same Edge X treatment. That's new yellow. It's Polaris yellow, the Edge X yellow.
Yeah, for sure. Great shot here.
Yeah, so that's this year's Sled Days, day 2. So that's all the students and their sleds were parked at the Valley Trailmasters rest area between Trail 56 and 111. And that's their shack that they built in the corner there. So yeah, it's a nice group shot. Again, right, it's all about getting the kids. They got to test out the skills that they learned the day before. The police are there with us. We had 3 police sleds, an M&R sled. We had some Valley Trailmaster volunteers. So we had lots of good supervision, and it's good to get the students out there and talk to the trail masters because all these trails will have by themselves, right? So they get to learn about that and they get to see the thing that they built and actually get to use it. It was a cold day that day, so that's what Doug was laughing. I didn't know he could fit so many people in the warm-up shelter, but we had a whole bunch of kids in there, and nice roasting some weenies on the fire pit on the other side of the rest area. So that was a really good turnout. I think we had over 40 sleds come out. So, and again, everybody made it back, no incidents, and it was a heck of a day at the office. It was a good day, good times had by all.
Oh my God. And they pay you to do that. That's insane.
Yeah, you know what though? Those days are a lot more stressful than the normal days because you get, that's why I try to tell the principal, like because we had a few teachers, like why do you need so many teachers to come? Because these kids have, some of these kids are rolling in 850s. One kid, he blew it up before coming at an 850 turbo. It's like not a Polaris 850 turbo, another brand 850 turbo, but a kid in grade 9 has an 850 turbo. So it's like we need supervision because these kids are driving 180 horsepower sleds here, some of them. So
that's where you put the top at the front and the back and one in the middle.
That's basically what we did. And it's nice because what the police do is because they all have to have their driver's license, trail permits, stock cans, insurance to be able to come on the ride. But since some of them are as young as 12, they don't have their G1s and stuff, right? So the police actually close the roads for them so they can cross safely. And all
cool.
That. Yeah, so that's, like I said, without the police, we wouldn't be able to do this. So Kevin Tremblay and the Greater Sled Police Service, without them, they would literally be impossible. So yeah, they shut down all the roads, the highway, whenever we have to cross. And a sled, like you said, police in the back, police in the front, one in the middle with their radios in case something does happen. So they really got it down to a science, and the kids have a lot of fun. And it's, like I said, hopefully when it's all said and done, these guys can make some friends like I made back when I was in high school, and they keep going riding. They could hook up. They could say, "Oh, I didn't know this kid had a sled," and then they go with the next weekend and make some new riding buddies and continue sledding there with the kids from school.
And I remember that day on the first day for training, I remember Paul saying to the kids, because kids are kids, remember, Gary, when you were that age at 15, 16, all you were thinking about is just to put the throttle maximum as much as you could. And Paul was saying that day, okay, guys, here's some safety measure for tomorrow. We don't want to have any accident. We don't want to have anything happen. We'll be around 40, 50 sleds tomorrow. So we're asking you when we'll be riding on lakes and like long distance area to not pass anybody. It's not a race. It's it's not a race. It was kind of funny.
That's good.
The year before we had a videographer both years, and the guy would kind of pass people right to go and to get the next shot. So at one point somebody got stuck somewhere, so the videographer kind of jumps ahead, and it just happened to be in like almost like a field. So the kids see this guy take off, and they figure, oh well, we could all go play. And it's like, so we're like, no, park your sled. So this year I had to be very specific. Don't get off your sled. If you see somebody else do it, don't do it. There's a reason why they're doing it. So,
and they're all kids, so they're all thinking about speed and they're all thinking about pushing their machine to the limit. And it's funny, when I was listening, the police from Sudbury, he was talking about speed limit in the trail and everything. And I was thinking, gosh, I wish I would have been nicer to police enforcement when I was kids, riding my snowmobile or dirt bike and ATV. And I thought of myself back 30 years ago, 25 years ago.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's the thing, is like I had a whole gamut of kids to ride with when I was young, and they just aren't there. So it's neat to do that because you can introduce kids to to each other that may not have known, hey, I didn't know you had a sled. Or
exactly.
We used to go out like big group rides every Friday night. We'd be out every night of the week, but there'd be a gang of us on the weekend. It was crazy. Is that the motor for your cart there?
No, so that one is that's a 446 pack, and it's a 70 Challenger. So that car was my dad and my uncle bought that car in the late 80s. And then to make a long story short, they ended up getting a 68 Hemi Charger, and they restored that car first. So this car kind of sat on the back burner. And then about 10, 12 years ago, my dad and my uncle offered to sell a car to me, so I bought it. So my dad and I have been restoring that car. Well, it's restored now, but this was, that's Mason. So now he's 12, so it kind of gives you he's a couple feet taller now, but anyways, that so it's just a fun project. My dad and I working on that car, and Mason would get his hands dirty once in a while, so it was cool. Just, my dad and I always worked on stuff together, tinkered on stuff together, like that old Camaro he restored from the ground up, and then that 68 Charger, and then I got to do this one. So it's just a lot of fun working with your hands, and and like I said, some of my best memories are in the garage with my dad. So,
oh, sorry, I clicked off that too fast. Sorry about that. Trigger finger. No, that's great. We got to get the Kevin's pictures yet. So,
I'll speed things up. That was just So this is just we oval raced for quite a years. 08 15. It's not a Polaris, but that's because we had to keep it 74 or older, and Polaris didn't have any one-lungers that'd be suitable for that. So basically, we were the only ones with the Skidoo. Everybody else raced Yamahas because they had 4 transfer ports, and but we made that thing work. And by the end, we won a couple championships with it, and we made it go faster, and lots of people think it can go. So it was a lot of fun racing.
That's all. So you must have liked this picture Corey Jinks sent in there earlier.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I could relate to. That thing ran on C12 also, and we had 14-inch carbides on that. So you want to talk about darting and hard to steer? That was we had to upgrade everything. There's not a single stock thing on that sled. It was because with the 14-inch carbides, you'd rip the skis off in 2 corners, right? So
yeah,
but it was a lot of fun.
Cool. Very cool. Oh, Kevin's pictures now. This is
boy,
what we're here for.
I don't have. That's the thing. I don't have so many pictures, and
no, that's good. Oh
no. And,
I heard you like Baywatch. Is that true?
Yeah. The funny thing, when you asked for pictures, Gary, I was like, gosh, I barely have pictures because I don't take pictures of myself, and I literally don't even have pictures. If you look on my Facebook, I don't have nothing on my Facebook just because I don't take pictures of myself. But that was actually I just wanted to make like a joke for for people I'm working with at the office. And the guy you see on the chair, his name is Mike, and he's like the production manager. And I can tell you something, that day, that was Halloween, and he had just no words.
Don't blame
I don't know why.
Yeah.
So here you are, dressed like Pamela Anderson from Baywatch.
Yeah. So
I love it.
So that was costume. I can tell you something, when you bring your kids at school dressed like this, you get some questions. You get some questions from other parents.
You actually take your kids to school in your costume. That's great.
Yeah, that's right. And I had to stop at the convenience store as well. And it's quite.
Well, thanks for not showing up like that to our school, buddy. Appreciate that one.
we have your new outfit for the Polaris ride next year, Kevin, right there. Yeah. The little lifeguard put Polaris across there. You're gonna be loving it.
Well, if you check on the buoy, you can see B Power, PWR. Yeah. Well, actually, I was there to save the experience, riders experience. Save riders experience. Yep.
Nice. Yes, that's right. You got it. This is from the Toronto show.
Yeah. That was actually at the Toronto show. So here's the thing. Qualipieces were very well known here in Quebec. For those who don't know, like Quebec in Canada has got last year it was 38% of all snowmobile sales in the whole country. So 38%. So snowmobiling is a big thing in Quebec. It's really part of life. And but we haven't been so much pushing on the Ontario market just because the business had been growing from word to mouth. But yeah, we were at the Toronto show this year, and we're planning to be there next year as well. So that was the booth.
Yeah,
so
there's your booth. Yeah, that's cool. And I do remember that booth, actually. You're right near the Skidoo booth. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Right near
so we
Energy.
had B Power and Qualipieces. And funny thing with the when you look at the B Power Sled, which was a Polaris slash, because the Ontario market is such a trail market, when people were passing by that sled, the Polaris one, they were stopping by to take selfie, and that's just because they were kind of really impressed about the way it was set up, and we had pretty much all the equipment we could have on the sled. So yeah, it was a really nice show.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yep.
So you've got bumpers and throttles and all kinds of things under B Power. That's wicked.
Yeah, rear front bumpers, A-arm suspensions. Yeah, this one was fully loaded.
Yeah, cool. Good looking booth there. Nice.
Yeah, that picture actually. I don't know if you heard about it, but there's a thing in New Brunswick called the 1,000 mile challenge. It's called the 1,000 mile challenge. So basically, there's 4 riders, and there's so they ride like for 1,000 mile in 24 hours, and they're in a group of 2. So and we were one of their sponsor this year, so we were providing them specialized carbide runner. So this one is his name is Jeffrey, and so he was part of the 1,000 miles challenge.
Nice.
So it's a really nice challenge, and it's a fun racing. And actually, what they do with the money, they send the money for kids for summer camp, to send more kids in summer camp in New Brunswick. So that's a big thing going on in New Brunswick. And do you know why they do it in New Brunswick, Gary?
Why is that?
Because there's no speed limit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Nunzio's out
Yeah.
there. He's come back from it now, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nunzio just came from New Brunswick, and he did a lot of miles. And yeah, that's the reason why they do it in New Brunswick, because there's no speed limit. Otherwise, they couldn't complete the challenge in 24 hours.
Do you have any riders in Kane's Quest, Kevin?
Kane's Quest? No, not yet.
They had quite a. I know a couple guys involved in that. I'll get them to reach out to you.
Okay.
They had quite the year this year. We'll hear more about it on the show. But the Kirk and Penny who were on the show last season, he's been sending me articles and stuff, and it was pretty almost deadly, that race this year. It was.
Oh yeah.
It is the toughest race, bar none.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's in Newfoundland. Goes Labrador and around, and no trails. It's just point and shoot your sled.
Oh,
so,
wow!
Yeah, it's all GPS. Yeah, it's pretty wicked. Check out that podcast for one. It's a hoot. Those 2 were great. But then we're gonna get them back on, or someone back on, to talk about this year's race, because it's one to go down in the history books for sure.
Wow.
Another adventure lover here.
Yeah, so so that was part of the 1,000 mile challenge as well.
Yeah. Do you make carbides for the Pilot R?
The Pilot R, we don't actually.
It's a racing ski. I was just curious because I think it's the exact carbide a C&A would take.
It's a racing ski from Skidoo, right?
From Skidoo, yeah. It's called the Pilot R. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've. How long have they been manufacturing the?
Massart in the chat, if he's still in there, he'd be able to answer that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. He said it's a complete. Yeah, the C&A is a complete, or the Pilot R is a complete knockoff of the C&A, right down to every detail on it. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
If you made one for the Pilot R as a Skidoo branded ski, I'm sure it would fit the C&A. I just noticed that guy had C&As on his sled.
Okay, so that's from memory. That's Lisa. So she's one of the rider as well. One of the 4 rider for the for the 1,000 mile as well.
Oh, that's good. And how many days did they do it in? One day?
It's a 24 hours. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
That was
cool.
Miles. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, Miles. And I don't have such a good memory, but yeah, he had a triple. Actually, he had a triple. It's a it was a Magzi triple.
Yeah,
I
the
don't know if you see another
800,
picture.
809.
Yeah, the 800. And he had some mechanical issue just before the challenge, and they managed to get it fixed and get it working properly before the race. But he was the only one riding with an older version, an older snowmobile, actually, and it
Yeah.
has quite a nice sound. Well, it's got a triple sound, so it's a really, really nice sound.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's throaty too because of the big jugs. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a good shot. Is this from one of the Polaris rides?
That's a good question. You know what? I'm looking at the picture. I'm not 100% sure. Where is that picture taken from? Is that the Polaris ride?
No, I'm not sure. I never seen that picture before.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't know.
It was in your photos.
Okay. Yeah, that's the front bumper on new generation G5.
Oh, sweet.
Yep, that's the new bumpers we got.
Corey would have liked me to have one of those on the weekend when I I have a public service announcement on my Instagram to stop these vicious trail arrow signs from jumping out in front of you at the last minute. You know, you have to watch my Instagram to see what that means. If I would have had that bumper, it would have been a great story for sure. Wow, that's a great shot of your rear bumper. Love it.
Yeah. Rear bumpers are they're a must, actually, especially for Polaris riders, because it seems like the last generation, the tunnel is got some weakness for sure. The tunnel, especially with Polaris, so that's why a lot of the guys they do put like aftermarket bumpers just to keep everything straight and making sure they don't damage anything, because those things gets beaten pretty hard. And yeah, so it's a pretty neat product.
Yeah, that's good. Heavy duty, and that's cool. I never thought about that, but it would give you a lot of extra support in the tunnel for sure. Yep. Actually, Wisco was asking if B-Power makes a bumper for Matrix Trail Sled.
Polaris. Yeah.
You do?
Yes, actually, yes. Perfect. Yes, actually, there's light duty and heavy duty, and yeah, sure. If they look at the Matrix light duty, it's the same fit as Chaos and other sleds for front bumper.
Right on. Do you do mountain riding yourself, Kevin, or is this friends of yours, or?
I know this was a picture taken, like we've got ambassadors in Western Canada, some people from Quebec and some people from BC and Alberta, and we went out Western Canada for a big shooting for over a week this year. So we've took like so many pictures and videos so that we can use on our website and social media in the next coming season. So that this is part of our pictures that we've taken. And yeah, so this is the deep snow section of the company, B-Power.
Yeah, that's great. Denon says he's got to go. He said, great. Thank you both to the guests. He said, great session. He really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's the other thing. There's videos on the channel from Koala Pieces showing like a little mini tour of the factory and things like that. I highly encourage people to watch it. Just search Koala Pieces on YouTube It's pretty cool to see it in action. You see some of the people behind the scenes, and it's a really neat setup they have there.
Yep. Well, it's a nice Canadian-made product locally here, and this is a picture from the factory. But yes.
Look at that, putting the carbides on.
Yep, they're putting the carbides on, and they're about to getting in place, and then they weld it, and then there's we do test after just to make sure that everything, the whole process was done properly, and yep.
That's cool. How many people work for your company?
We're 25 people right now.
Nice.
Like if you count like production plus people in the office, there are 25 people. And the question we get pretty often is the length of the carbide. When we do like shows or open house, a lot of riders ask like, is there a difference if I go with 4, 6, 8 inches carbide? And here, like, the answer is like the carbide is that little piece that gives you like really, really good bite, only for very specific condition. Like carbide only gives you bite when it's really icy or really, really hard packed trail. That's when you need good condition carbide. But otherwise, like in standard groomed trail condition, the carbide itself doesn't have any impact. If you have a really nice groomed trail condition, what has an impact is really the style, well, the shape of the runner. When it's round, depending if it's round or square. Well, if it's round, you'll have way more grip than something rectangular or square. Way more cornering, way less cornering, I would say. And the style, if you get like a dual carbide runner, just you had Gary on your sled, like one dual on one side and one just standard OEM on one side. Having duals will give you way better anti-darting. So it really depends on the style, the shape. So the carbide length itself, because I see, when we see dealers, I see a lot of the guys coming up at the counter. Well, give me some 8 inches. I want 8 inches carbide. You're super aggressive. Well, yes, for sure. 8 inches will give you more bite, but only when you're really on icy trail or really hard packed trail. Otherwise, in standard groomed trail condition, it has almost no impact. It's really about the shape. It's really about the shape and the style, and that's it.
Yeah, well, that's neat to know. Now, your carbides, are they one carbide for the full length of 6 or 8 or whatever the length is you run, or are they little pieces? And
they're
what's
pieces,
the advantage of? And so, why would they be little pieces over doing one complete?
Well, they're little pieces because imagine you would have like only 1 6-inch piece. As soon as you have a flexion or something, it's gonna break.
Oh, okay, I got you. See, I wondered about that, right?
So that's why they do it they actually do it in multiple pieces, and and something you have to look at for carbide. Something we do it differently at Quality Pieces is that you've got the main carbide itself, and you've got right in front of the carbide. I can show you something. Right in front of the carbide, you've got. I got one here. That's the Adventure. So that's the main carbide here. Yeah. But right in front, like at the front of the carbide, we always put what we call the pre-carbide. So those are a little 90 degrees pieces, and they make the transition. They make the transition from let's say from the plate to the main carbide. So that pre-carbide, every time you're gonna hit like rocks, railroad, every time you hit something with your carbide, that's what is gonna hit first. So, and that's pretty important, and that's why we use pre-carbide. Sometimes, very often, you're going to see with competition. That's the carbide runner from competition. So that's the main carbide, and that's the pre-carbide here.
Nothing.
So you can see what they
Oh,
use
it's flat.
is
Flat.
is like they use like a welding, like some type of welding filling here instead of pre-carbide. So what happened is it's gonna wear off so quickly that that's the front here. That's a Polaris one. It's at some point it's gonna break here, and at some point your ski, instead of being level, your ski is gonna tip to the front a little bit. So you're kind of losing the original angle because of that. So that's another difference on how we do it. We always use pre-carbide.
Yeah. Now, do you have to shim your skis with your carbides?
Never.
Why is that? Why do some manufacturers try and sell you on shimming and rubbers and stuff? And why do you think yours doesn't need it?
Well, and that's the reason why. Let's say, like, this is a Woody's, like the one I was showing you. The reason why a lot of the guys are shimming their ski, their runners, is because they're not using like pre-carbide here. They're gonna wear off so quickly here that the angle is gonna change pretty quickly, and that's why they shim their skis and they shim their carbide, just because they're losing their original angle, and that's why we're always using pre-carbide because like like some type of welding filling is hard. It's harder than steel, but it's never as hard as pre-carbide. Carbide is harder than anything. So I would say if you need to shim your carbide, if you need to shim your ski or anything, it's because you don't have the right product. You never have to shim anything because, well, especially with our product, everything is gonna wear off pretty even. I don't know about you. Have you seen, Paul, any kind of need for you to shim your ski or anything in the wearing?
No, not for ours. Ours have been nice and even, and still running the same now as they were back when we put them on at the beginning of the season. So far so good for that. Just plug and play.
That's sweet. I love that. Oh, this is great. The show shows you all the variations of the product.
Yeah, so that's the display we're actually using with dealers. So display is really the cherry on the sundae, because the riders, when they get into the store, they can see the product, they can actually touch it. And the first one you see on the left, Gary, it's called the Peak.
Yeah.
And this one, I don't think you will be ever riding with this one, because this is I got one here. This is a 100% deep snow. A deep snow runner. It's got like multiple pieces of carbide here. And so basically the reason why we use flat carbide, it has no angle. It's for the guy, when the guy are load up their sled into a sled deck, it never catch anywhere. It's really nice for that.
Yep, and it still gives you protection and bite when you need it. Yep.
But it's really for 100% deep snow riders, because one thing that I've learned with the deep snow guys, especially in Western Canada, is those guys are riding 6 months a year, and they've got a way longer season than we do have here in Eastern Canada and Eastern US. And they're riding 6 months a year, but the first, like, let's say the first month and a half and the last month and a half of their riding, bottom of the mountain, at the bottom there's about no snow. So sometimes they have to ride like they go up to as they can with their trailer and their truck. Sometimes they have to ride like for half an hour in gravels, like in the wood and in really rough conditions. So they need really good carbide, but they don't need bite. They don't need 60 degrees bite, or they don't So they just need protection for their skis.
Yeah, sweet. I've seen that in Muskoka Freerider, riding through crap to get to the trails. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually last weekend. We call it the Experience Day. So basically, after the Polaris ride in Temagami, Ontario, we had such a good response from riders to try our products with preset skis that we've decided to go for the whole weekend.
Nice.
That was in Kapuskasing. How do you say it?
Kapuskasing, yep.
Kapuskasing, Ontario.
Mhm.
That was we were at the Moonbeam for the whole weekend. So basically, we had over 50 trials for the day. So riders were coming by. We were offering a free trial, so you could come up with your sled. We would just swap your ski, and we would have like a cone down the trail that to show you where to come back, and then riders could try product for the whole weekend, for Saturday and Sunday.
Nice. The All Terrain TV wants you to clarify. You had said square is worse than a round bar. Was that right, or I think you switched it after you said it?
Well, what does he mean by worse? Worse for darting, or worse for cornering?
You said that the round bar was better than the square bar, the shape.
Well, the thing is, when you have a round bar, it's going to give you an easier steering for sure. It's not going to dart as much, but for cornering, you basically have not so much cornering, because when it's round, it's skipping when you're cornering. When you're trying to cornering, you don't have so much support. So square bar is going to give you a square or rectangular is going to give you way better performance for cornering. But it's going to give you a little bit more darting, because when you're going straight, when you have a square bar or rectangular, it's going to catch everybody else's track. So it's going to give you a bit more darting effect. But for cornering, you'll be in a different world. And the round one, you're not going to have so much cornering. But for darting, you're not going to have so much effect. So it's easier to steer. So that's why with the Adventure and the Trek, you kind of get best of both worlds with the product. You get cornering, really good cornering, and really good anti-darting as well.
Nice. How many people did you have come out to this event? Corey Brock was asking.
How many people? Well, the thing is, that was at the Moonbeam, so people were just passing by in the trail, and they were stopping by to go at the Moonbeam, have a beer or have a sandwich or something to eat inside, and then we were just giving the opportunity to try product for free the whole weekend. So we had about, like I said, 50 people to try the product in the whole weekend. So that was a lot. That was way more than what we expected.
Yeah. Corey said he'd love to do that at his club next season, the local club. That's great.
Send me an email.
Yeah, he will for sure. This is neat.
Yeah.
Is this still up there in Kapuskasing?
Yeah, you know what? That was in Kapuskasing. Yeah, we've done the what we call the Experience Day. We've done it with one of our top dealer in Ontario, which is Raxfin. They're based in Kapuskasing, and the owner, Miguel, is the owner. And when the Saturday evening, when the day was over, he brought me on the lake. It was probably nearby, and we were riding our snowmobile on the lake for like 15-20 minutes, and then poof, suddenly out of nowhere, it was just like Las Vegas. Out of nowhere, right in the middle of the lake, you could see those like little houses with everything inside, fridge, generators,
Were they
tables.
ice fishing? Were they ice fishing?
Yeah, they were doing ice fishing.
Ice condos. That's awesome.
It was really right in the middle of nowhere. It was quite something.
Very cool. That's a neat shot.
Yeah. That was actually at the Grand Prix Valcourt in Valcourt at the snowmobile race. So what's very special about the Valcourt race is they do have like the oval race, like standard snowmobile race, and right in the middle, like the oval is so big that right in the middle they do the snowcross race.
Oh,
So
cool.
there's always like two races going on. Well, not going on at the same time, but right after each other. Like there's one oval race, and then there's one snowcross race, and then one oval race. So it's quite something. So we had some of our top dealer sharing. We had like a VIP lounge for the weekend.
Very neat. That's a nice thing to show. Thanks to your dealers as well.
Yeah.
Sounds like a terrific event. All Terrain TV wants to know, what would you recommend for ice racing on bare ice? I don't know what type of sled he wants to know, but is there a product that you have that suits that?
For ice racing, I was with an Arctic Cat dealer a couple of weeks ago, and I know they were using. Gosh, I can't remember the name. But like, if we're talking about like competition race, send me the consumer contact. I'll send him the info.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It would be something like the Rush, probably, right?
Probably like the Rush.
If I'm looking at your box. See, that's
Yeah.
the thing I know from the box. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's probably like the Rush.
Like the Rush, the square with the car, the 60-degree. That's what we ran back in the day with some tow, and away we went.
Because when you look at the Rush and the Adventure, those they're the same product. The Rush and Adventure, it's the same product. The only difference is the Adventure's got that front plate,
the Cobra head,
in front of the runner that flat downs the snow, but I guess you don't really need it anyway for ice racing.
Ice racing, no, you wouldn't. That's why that's the thing. Yeah, that's cool.
That's actually on the left. That's the Dominic. That's the actually one of the top manager from Qualipieces. Nice. And we were actually at that was at the Grand Prix as well in Valcourt.
Snowmobile Lover 8723 wants to know, which carbide is the lowest price?
The lowest would be the Traveler, which is the like just the standard replacement runner.
Yeah, it says made of superior quality, and they're ideal for learning about carbides.
Yeah,
they still look good. Yeah,
yeah, but for retail, if you put like $80 more, you get the Adventure. And the Trek now retails for $249. So the Trek we're talking about $249, and the Adventure we're talking about $189, and the standard Traveler you're talking about, I don't know, $120. So there's not a big difference going from the Traveler replacement, let's say, style to Specialized. But there's a day and night difference in terms of riding. Day and night, you'll have a different sled.
Well, that's the thing. You can see that they're purpose built, right?
Yeah.
Each one has a specific category it fits in.
That was that was at Giesler Marine. I was kind of having fun taking a picture for my son, because just like Paul, I'm trying to have my son involved into snowmobiling as soon as I can, and I found the mini, how do you call it, Mini Z, MXZ,
Mini Z, yeah, Mini Z or Mini Z, yeah,
Mini Z, pretty nice to start with.
Yeah, cool. Do you have a carbide for those?
It's funny you ask. I don't know what they're using actually on the Mini Z.
You have to look into
it's
that.
they're probably using just a standard OEM. So yes, I would say yes.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it's probably standard with the other pilots. Yeah. Oh, here you are.
Oh boy.
Someone here getting their hands dirty.
That's
Is that your ride, Paul?
Yeah, that was our ride. That was the Temagami Shores. That was Kevin doing that all weekend, working hard.
Yep. Actually, I was installing a roller ski, and that was my first time installing one by myself. So I'm handy, but there's a limit on how handy I am. But that was actually Ross Jacobelli's snowmobile. So Nunzio's
brother, yeah.
Ross Jacobelli's. That was his sled. I was actually installing a roller ski just to make a demonstration that weekend.
Yeah, right on. Did people learn any new French cuss words when you were doing that job, or was it good?
No, I wasn't teaching French that weekend. I was still improving my English, actually. Yeah, I've been learning English in New Brunswick at the University of New Brunswick for a year. So,
yeah, very good, very good. I know the problem here.
What's the problem?
You don't have any beers. This is a 2-beer job. You know.
I know, and that's the thing. But we kind of solved that problem around 9 o'clock
later on after ride. Yeah, I got you.
That was me and my brother last winter. We used to ride a lot when we were kids. I started off. I don't have pictures. That's the thing. I've never have picture of myself or nothing. But we started on a Formula Z, 1995. It was a 583 back in the time, and we always had been riding together. And this was actually in Mont-Valin, in the Saguenay area.
Yeah,
I don't know. You've been to Mont-Valin, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I love it there. Can't wait to go back.
So for those who don't know the Mont-Valin area, Saguenay area, it's a unique place where there's a very special temperature, and there's nowhere Eastern Canada where there's as much snow as in Mont-Valin. It's phenomenal, and those pictures were taken. They were taken first week of January. And so we went we ran to, I got one of my buddy who's got deep snow sled. So we went for renting 1 week, and my brother was riding a Lynx and I was riding a Summit Edge for the whole weekend. And it was quite something. It was quite fun. And you know what's funny, when you ran for those who had never try like deep snow sled, like a real true deep snow sled experience, like renting, the very first thing they do in the morning when you show up, they bring the sled, and then they put the sled on the side, and then they got a big chalk, like white chalk. They put a mark on the track.
Yeah.
And then you got to pull the track, and you got to count like the paddles one by one. And if there's missing paddles, you got to take a note of how many paddles and where they're missing. If there's cracked paddles, you got to take a note of that too.
Yep.
Because if you break more paddles, you're going to pay for it. If you slash paddles, or if you take one apart because you hit something, so it was like 400 or $500 per paddle if you break
damage
one.
Oh really? Yeah, damage deposit, right? Wow.
Yeah,
they'd pay for a track pretty fast doing that, I bet.
Yeah, you pay for everything. So it was such a good day. It was really nice.
Oh, that looks so fun. Oh, look at the trails there. Wow.
Oh, that was in Kapuskasing, actually, for the experience day. I show up in the morning to install everything. And that was it was like 7:30 in the morning. Nobody came by yet. And it was just like a perfect bowling
Bowling
alley.
lane, yeah. You know what? Like, that's the thing. They groom at night, and in the morning, if you can be the early bird, like, there isn't been a track on that yet.
Yep,
That's awesome.
Oh,
that was in Mont-Valin last year. Imagine this was the first or second week of January.
yeah,
The winter was just starting.
That's 5 feet of snow.
Well, that's my brother, and he's actually standing up.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, they had so much snow last season that when we went last season, you couldn't stop anywhere. Well, if you would stop, you had to stop somewhere where it was like leveling down a little bit. If you would stop somewhere it was level, it was half and half chance for you to go back on your sled and then keep going. It's a half and half chance you could start over again. There's just so much snow. It's crazy.
So is this is an off trail area that you're allowed to ride on, or is this next to a trail, or where is this?
Yeah, well, it's the Mont-Valin. It's a pretty big area where just like in Western Canada, where you can ride pretty much anywhere. But the difference with Western Canada is there's a lot of trees.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's spots where there's not so many trees, where you can be you can do deep snow and can kind of play with your sled without being afraid to hit something every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But for most part, there's a lot of tree riding. There's lakes. There's it's mountain riding, but but you got to be careful for sure. Yeah.
Very cool.
That was the experience. They actually that was the busy part of the day. And the thing you don't know on that picture, you've got there's more sleds waiting to for the trial to try products. And it was kind of funny because Miguel's owner, like the owner, Raxfin owner, his father, who used to be the president of the company, he spent the whole weekend with us, and he was working really hard with us. And at some point, we had so many people that wanted to try the product. He came to me and said, "Kevin, you got to tell me who's next, because right now I'm just freaking out. There's too many people, and you're saying to everybody it takes 5 minutes. It doesn't take 5 minutes anymore. There's like 5, 6, 7 people waiting for the trial. So, and there's no more skis. Everybody's gone with skis.
Oh,
so we got no more.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So we got like we had 2 sets of skis for the pro with the Pro Steer for Polaris, one with the Adventure and one with the Trek, and we had like 2 Pilot X skis preset, one with the Trek and one with the Adventure, but that wasn't enough. I mean, we were out of skis all the time, or somebody's gone with it, and the thing is, people are riding, so were not, riders were not expecting to stop by for an hour. They were just stopping by for like 15 minutes to relax a little bit, and then keep going to Cochrane or keep going up north, and so it was kind of
sidetracked. Yeah.
So so it was quite something that day.
I love it. Oh, that's the same picture we had. That's the same picture we already had there.
That's the same picture. Yeah.
This is the new one here.
So we're doing a lot of open house, and that was with Saint Ange Recreation, which is one of our major dealer in Ontario. Very good dealer, very high knowledge of products, just like Energy, Power Sport, and it's really, open houses are really nice. It's a kind of relaxed atmosphere, and you really get to see some of the best riders of the dealership coming by.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so
I loved it. I wasn't able to be at Energies this year because I had another job to do that weekend, but Yeah, I love doing the energy open house. It's a lot of fun, the people you meet and everybody coming in and chatting sleds, and it's a good time.
Is energy doing like a one weekend or it's a one day?
They had a weekend 2 years ago, and I think last year was just a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll try to be there next year for sure.
Yeah, it's in November usually. So yeah, you'll be in touch with him for sure. And if not, we'll hook you up.
Yes, for sure. Same thing. That's not an open house. That was actually at the Peterborough show in Peterborough, Ontario.
Yeah.
And so this dealer was it was Oxbridge Motorsports.
Yes.
So they've got a long track record of history of snowmobiling. Those guys are true hard, passionate about snowmobiling. Guy Rogers, which is the owner, and Doug, his brother, they're just really true hard snowmobilers, and it's quite worth.
They've been around they've been in the business a long time. Yeah.
And I don't know if you've been to the Oxbridge show before, not the Oxbridge, but the Peterborough show. Yeah, Sled-orama.
Yeah,
it's quite something. Yes, for those used for the from the how does it call in the US, the heydays?
Heydays, yeah.
It's a little bit like the 8 days.
It's not even comparable.
It's not even close, but
yeah.
Let's say it's
more
same
of a vintage
atmosphere.
swap. It's a vintage swap meet, so it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
There they are.
Yeah,
see how beautiful they look on the skis too.
I don't know if you know Kenny Johnson.
Yep. Riders.
Yeah, that's right. So that's Kenny Johnson from the Polar Bear Rider Club. And actually, I met Kenny at the Toronto show this year. And we've been talking like for almost an hour at the show, and the show was going on. And I say, Kenny, I got to call you back. And then Kenny is actually the president of the Polar Bear Snowmobile Club, and the Polar Bear Snowmobile Club actually takes care of most of the trail in the Cochrane area.
Yeah, they do a wonderful job of it,
and it's actually probably one of the biggest snowmobile club in Ontario, and one of the most well-known club. And Kenny is just he's just everywhere. He was talking to me about how much work it was for him to they've got like 10 different bridges to maintain this year, and they've got 2 new bridges to build this year. So for him, it's like a second job, full-time job, just being connected with engineers, with the city, with the environment, with everybody involved. And I've got a lot of respect. You know, Paul was talking about future riders generation getting involved into volunteer to make sure that snowmobile clubs keep going, to make sure they keep having the staff they need to groom trails, to maintain the trails in the summer. And Kenny is so much involved into the snowmobile club in the Cochrane area. It's so what we've decided to, the skis we had at the experience day in Kapuskasing, on my way back to Drummondville, I thought, well, instead of bringing the skis for the rest of the winter in our factory, not doing nothing, I'm just gonna bring the skis to Kenny, and he's gonna give away the skis to riders, like from their volunteers, for them to try the product by the end of the season.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
what a great idea. And you know, that's the place to try them out too, because it's all long and fast, and away we go.
Yeah.
From a company standpoint, Koala Pieces is sure working hard to, you know, get these people into the, you know, getting the product into their hands. There's our buddy Nuns.
And there's Paul. You can see Paul, the
Yeah.
second guy from the left.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can see the first guy on the left is Nunzio, and there's Paul, the second, and then the third guy is Colt Russell, and then you've got Jason Sears, and then there's Scott Kendall.
Yeah.
Is that right, Paul?
Yeah, that's right.
So you can tell a little bit more about that picture, Paul.
Yeah, that was just at our ambassador ride at the end of the ride on Saturday. Kevin had a real nice display set up, and we felt like Hollywood there with the the backboard and taking pictures and all the lights on, and then that was right before I went for dinner, and then Kevin gave away some more stuff inside. So yeah, it was super nice to have him here. It was a busy man all weekend for sure.
And there's only one guy left, Gary. There's only one left that is still not riding with Qualipieces. There's only one guy.
Oh,
and I'm working hard, and that's Scott on the right. So we'll see. He's actually riding with Bergstrom Skeg, and so some of your viewers are probably familiar with Bergstroms too.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you need the competition though, because it helps you guys all get better, right?
Oh yes. Yeah, that was the setup for the weekend for the Polaris Ambassador ride, and we spent the whole weekend outside.
Yeah,
that you did.
Very cool. Oh, what did we miss there? Nice wrap on the car.
Yeah. Thank you.
And is this there as well?
I beg your pardon?
Is this at the Kapuskasing event or the Temagami event as well?
Yeah, that was in Temagami. Yep, for the
Very
Polaris
cool.
Ambassador ride.
Nice. These would work better if they put them on his skis, though, don't you think?
Well, he actually had the I believe it was ours. No, it's not our product yet, but yeah, Cole he's now riding with our product, Cole Russell. He's a big fan of our product since he tried it. He actually tried both, but and the reason why all the Polaris Ambassador, they're all riding with the Adventure and not with the Trek, is just because they pretty much all have the same riding style, which is really hard cornering, and that's what the Adventure gives you, really nice bite and nice cornering and some anti-darting as well. But yeah, that's cool. He has a really nice sled too, brand new sled.
Yeah, boost.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a really nice sled. There's a good test for the product right there. Put them on a boost. That's a great shot for you.
That was right. That was right before the everybody left in the morning for the ride. So it was actually Nunzio talking to everybody, doing a big speech in the morning. Nunzio is pretty good for that.
Yeah, he would be.
He's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, is that your plant? Pretty cool.
That's actually the factory. So it's our production plant, and that's where the office is as well. And so this is right in the industrial park in Drummondville.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
So what kind of things do you make there? Like, do you get the bar stock in solid pieces? You cut it to length, you bend it, you do all the welding in there, that kind of thing?
Yeah, everything is done. Everything is done in our factory. It's 100% manufactured in Canada. in Quebec, Canada, in our factory. Yep.
There's a good shot. Look at that old Rev there.
Yeah, it's a good shot. It's one of our staff a couple of years ago. He came. It was snowing so much that day. He just came with his snowmobile actually to to work.
Really? I'd love to do that. Where do I send my resume?
Yeah, well, actually, we get a fair amount of snow down in Drummondville, a little bit more than the Toronto area for sure, but we don't get that much as well in Drummondville. So you really have, just like in Ontario, you really have to go either east or north a little bit if you want to have more snow.
Right on.
I come from a place, Eastern Canada, Gary, where we had to shovel we had like a one level room, one level house, and we had to shovel the house twice in the winter, sorry, just because we had too much snow. And the second time we would be shoveling the house, we had to shovel the windows right after.
Yeah,
just
really,
just because we had too much snow. It changed a little bit that we don't have so much as we used to, but still, the picture you see is the all the skis. So we do carry every single skis on the market, and we do test every single product you can imagine, competition, our product. So we do have every single skis on the market just to make sure that we're covering all the different needs. And yeah. And so every time a manufacturer like Ski-Doo or Polaris come up with a new ski, for us, it's a lot of work, because we got to make sure that all the products fits properly. We got to come up with a new roller ski as well, because every single ski has its own roller ski. So
right.
every single roller ski fits on a very specific ski, because of the shape of the ski, the angle and everything. So it's not one size fit all.
No, that's good to know that you take that care though, right? And you don't make a product that's one size fits all, because there is no such thing, right? If you did, it just shows you don't care. You're just making it to put it out there.
And when we come up with like new carbides runners and stuff like that, we ride the product. We ride the product just to make sure that the wearing spot is located on the right spot under the ski. So we're making sure that everything is fine, and then we're trying the product on different sleds and different version as well. So that's pretty important for us to come up with a solid product from day one.
Yeah, nice. There they are there.
Yeah,
I love how clean. I even noticed it in the videos that I was watching, that it's very clean factory and very well organized. Again, it speaks in the way that you operate as well, you know.
Yeah, actually, we've done like major change in the last year, just to make some inside renovation, make it bigger from the inside, and it was quite a challenge for us, and the result is pretty good, because we had to crank up production by a lot because of the COVID. The demand was just phenomenal.
Yeah. Wow. Right.
And you've got that's I don't know if you've been to that place, but anybody riding in Quebec, they must go once in their lifetime. They must go to a place called
Devil's Mountain.
The Devil's Mountain.
Yeah,
the Devil's Mountain. Have you been there?
Yeah, I droned it. I actually got permission from them to drone it. It's on my video.
So tell us what was your first feeling when you've been there?
Oh, it's awesome. And you know what? We went at sunset. You got to
Really?
watch that video. We hit that at the exact time. You couldn't have asked for a better time. It's a bluebird day, and oh yeah, it's just wicked. Yeah.
So just to let you know, Paul, the Devil's Mountain is it's in the Mont Laurier area. There's Val d'Or, and then when you go across, like when you go south like 3 hours, the next town you're gonna see, it's called Mont Laurier, and this place, the Devil's Mountain, there's there's no way you can go by car or with your pickup truck. You got to go with your snowmobile. Wow.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. They're not too shabby.
Wow.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
And there's a big tower where you can go up to, and the view is just breathtaking.
It's phenomenal from that tower. Have you not been there yet, Paul?
Not yet. It's on the bucket list. I was watching that with my wife there about a month ago in Quebec, all the places. Yeah, it looks amazing.
Oh, yeah. Check out the video on my channel. I mean, it'll blow your mind, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, we'll do for sure.
Yeah, it's called Devil's Mountain. It's called Devil's Mountain. I posted we were there January 16th. So, yeah.
So we got a contest where every time you're buying something for a meal at the restaurant at this place, where you're getting a ticket where you can fill out your name, email address, and telephone number, and you get a chance to win a set of free card by end of the season. So that's why we were having a contest with that, and for us it was a great opportunity to. For riders to get to know the product, and especially with the nice display and everything. So, yeah, it was.
Oh, it is a great spot. Now, someone did comment, and you're from Quebec, so you'd know the answer to this. Someone said we have to go. There's another spot that said to make Devil's Mountain look like an anthill in Quebec.
Probably in the Saguenay area. I don't know what place exactly he's talking about, but and that's a big difference between Quebec and Ontario. And even I haven't been riding so much in the States, but the big difference in Quebec and Ontario is Quebec. There's so many places in Quebec you can stop by right in the middle of the wood. There's places that can be reached only by snowmobile. And there's a volunteer that brings like chips, liquors and stuff and food on his snowmobile, because there's no way you can reach this place by car or pickup truck. So it makes like a really special atmosphere when you're into that snowmobile club, knowing that the only way you can go would be by snowmobile. So it's
Quebec does it right. That's one thing I noticed. Quebec does it right. You're ripping along a trail, and all of a sudden, boom, Miko's is right there. There's another one we went to, and I wish I could remember. There's another restaurant we went to the day before, and I wish I could remember the name. But we're riding along the trail, and we pull up, and it's only the side by sides run trails adjacent to next to the snowmobile trails, Paul. So in a lot of areas, you're riding along. There's side by sides like beyond a tree line coming the other way, and they've got their own trail, and we've got our own trail. We go to this restaurant where all the trails meet, and it's like side by sides and sleds. It was heaven, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we raced in Quebec, but never trail rode in Quebec.
Yeah, you'd love it. There's a good shot of the trek on the bottom of the ski there.
Yep. Yeah, with the roller ski install. Yep.
Yeah. The rollers. What's the black part of the roller ski? Is that the thing that rests on the ski when it pivots?
That's the spring. That's the spring inside.
Okay, so it's covered. Yeah.
There's two different design. There's one roller ski with the spring, with the big spring inside, like this one, and there's one that is like a flat spring where you can barely see it. It's really small, and yeah. So depending on the shape and the type of the ski, sometimes they're using the coil spring type, like this one, and sometimes they're using the flat spring, depending. Yep.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, it looks good. You know, you can't even really notice them unless you know they're there. There's your example of what you're talking about when you don't put a carbide at the front, right?
Yeah, well, that picture was taken at the experience day. Actually, it was on the Yamaha SRX. I can't remember the year, but we didn't have anything for trial for Yamaha and Arctic at that weekend. But we did have products at that time. We had the Adventure and what we call the staggered carbide for Arctic Cat and Yamaha. We also call it like the offset carbide.
Yeah.
I got one here I can show you. It looks like this.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, that is neat.
Yeah, this is specifically made for Yamaha and Arctic Cat. That's a really popular one, actually. It's it's pretty much like the Trek. It's like offset, and
Yeah,
it's
is. Yeah.
super nice anti-darting. And because it's offset, it's when you're cornering, it makes it super easy to corner as well. As for our Yamaha and Arctic Cat guy, that's a really nice way to go compared to the standard OEM, which is painful, especially for Arctic Cat and Yamaha. Staying with the standard OEM for darting.
Yeah, that's the thing. I hear a lot of complaints about the Yamaha skis, and that there's your solution right there. Mike Galitz was asking what the maximum width of the rollers would be for those roller skis. Would it depend on what ski you run? Like you have different skis, different rollers for different manufacturers, right?
What's the width he's talking about? Like the width of the ski?
He said for the rollers. I'm not sure if you could clarify that, Mike. That'd be great.
Yeah. But when you
do make them like it depends on what ski. It's not one
it depends
roller
on the
fits
ski.
all. Yeah.
If you actually go on our website, qualipieces.com, you just enter your make, model, and year, and it's gonna show you exactly all the different products we have compatible with your ski. So it will show you exactly which roller ski is compatible. But yeah, that carbide runner, that was actually on a Yamaha, and this one was on a BRP. I'm sorry. Yeah, looking at the stud.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was on the BRP, and it was in pretty bad shape, but yeah, this is something that we see often. Consumer coming by, they don't even know there's runners under their ski. And this is just like tire again. Those are pretty important if you want to have good grip and good performance on the trail. If you have runners like in that condition, that's not good. And this is something we were teaching the kids when we were at the sled day with Paul in Sudbury. We were teaching the kids, hey, you got to keep your carbide runner in good condition, because that's pretty important when you'll be on ice or really hard pack. You need that traction to keep you safe in the trail, because there's a safety factor.
Yeah.
And that's a bad example.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Mike was asking what the maximum weight is for those rollers. How much weight can they hold?
As much as you can have on your sled. I mean, it's going to hold the weight of your sled, and even if you're 300 pounds, 350 pounds with a passenger, with log gauge, gas, it's going to hold as much as you. There's no problem.
Okay, and then he was asking how close is the wheel to the ski.
I would say an inches or two. Well, it depends.
Yeah, show that one there. That's a good example. So
I
can you
got
flip
it
that
here.
down? Can you flip it
Yep.
down?
Yeah, sure.
That's what he's keen on is that. Oh, it's right. So it's just the width of that blade of aluminum and
Yep.
yeah. So it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, and it's
Not an
meant.
inch. Yeah.
No, not an inch. I would say from the ski, I would say half, 3/4, roughly.
Yeah.
But
Closer
it's
the
meant.
ski, the more weight it can carry, and that's true. Yeah.
It's meant to be close because you want it to be close because the closer you are, the more weight you'll have on your spindle. So
yeah, that's what Goulet said. He said more it can carry.
Yeah, they work really good. They don't flex. They don't do anything like that. They're super heavy duty and nice. And when they're on there, like they're not flexing or doing anything like that. They work awesome.
yeah, that's another example of pretty wear down carbide runner, like the one on the left. When you've got runners in condition like that, well, it's when you're riding, specifically when you're riding on icy or hard pack trail, you'll be in trouble.
Yeah,
you'll be in trouble for sure.
Yeah. Well, actually, the carbides still have a little bit of a point to them, so that's pretty good if they've been used. Where you're seeing is at the end where it's kind of worn down, right?
And that's the thing, and it goes back to what we're talking about, Gary. Is a lot of manufacturer the front of the runner, they don't put pre-carbide. They put like some kind of welding. Some kind of welding filling stuff, and that welding filling is never as hard as carbide, so it's gonna wear off so quickly that and you can see on that picture the front of the dualies is gonna the carbide is gonna get damaged. Like the main carbide is gonna get damaged pretty quick, and then you're not level anymore. Your carbide is just gonna
so those are those are a competitor's carbides that we're looking at here.
The one on the left, the left are, and the one on the right, they're ours.
Oh, I see. There you go. Yeah, because you can see that it's not wearing evenly on that one on the left. Yeah. Crazy.
That was actually the sled days with the police officer talking about the speed limit and everything you need. And everything to need to ride and have like a safe day, and I gotta say this sled day activity was just a perfect fit with what we're trying to do at Koala Pieces, which is like teaching riders on good behaviors and on having a top level experience, and also about safety, because when you have control on your sled, when you have perfect control on your sled, you're having a much nicer ride, and you're having a much safer ride, not only for you, but you're having a safer ride for people riding with you, and people passing by in the trail. Everybody will have a safer ride if you have control on your sled. But yeah, that was the police Sudbury talking about safety stuff and reglementation.
How many tickets did they hand out that day, Paul?
Not a single one. It was a good day. We it wasn't it was nice, safe ride, and the kids, they did a really good job of actually respecting the speed limits and respecting the trails and staying on the trails, and no fender benders, no nothing, not to pull anybody out of this rhubarb. So it was a really good day. No tickets.
How much is the trail pass in Ontario again, Paul?
Well, if you buy it at the beginning of the season, it's I think it's around 200 or 210, and by the end, it's up to around 280 for a regular one. Then it's about 200 for the classic, and cheaper before November.
And I can't remember when Kevin said like when you're buying one pass in Ontario, that pays for like how many kilometers
Yeah,
you're
that's it.
paying?
Basically, it's about, if I recall correctly, it's about $95 a kilometer to maintain a trail here. So your trail permit basically pays for 2 kilometers of maintenance, so it's a good bang for your buck to buy that trail permit, and, for all the work that all these volunteers do to keep the trails nice, and all the diesel alone. I forget, in Sudbury, I was at the meeting on Wednesday. They were showing it was astronomical, the diesel and DEF just here in Sudbury for the season so far. It was $100,000 plus, just for the diesel. So,
Oh, wow.
it's expensive to keep these groomers on the trail, and the countless hours that the volunteers do. It's shocking. So it's good that students kind of get a sense of what's involved. It's not just magically appears when the snow comes.
Oh, for sure. For sure. They won't appreciate that until they start driving diesel pickups, really.
Yeah.
Then you can put that in perspective. Right now, they're just passengers. Oh, there's the kid with his hands in the bucket. That's awesome. And the other kid lighting the match. I love it.
And they also had, for that day, they also had a how do you call it, the conservative officer.
Yeah,
conservation. Yeah.
Conservation officer, and if you go on the next, probably on the next picture, I guess he was actually showing all the different material they're using for first aid.
There we go. That picture.
Yeah. Can you tell more about that, Paul?
Yeah, so basically at the end of the presentation, they were talking a lot about survival skills. What happens, heaven forbid, if your sled breaks down or you go through the ice, things of that nature. So the officer was showing the students, what they carry with them on their sleds, like on their personal machines, the packs they bring with them, and what they have, in the back of their seats and stuff like that, in case they do find themselves in a situation where they're going to be there for a while. So, that was really good because, again, right, these kids just don't know any different. They leave with what's on their back, and that's it. So just showing them all the basics, and how to get a fire started, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, right on. Well, that even though they may not click right away, that's something that they'll remember when they need to,
Yeah, exactly.
You get one kid carrying 3 of these products on the sled, that's a win.
Yeah, exactly.
When you agree, it's true. If you have one kid that from that school that decides, hey, I'm going to carry a standard compass or matches or extra rope, that's a win-win, right?
That's the thing. The cell phones are awesome, but they don't work everywhere, especially up north there. So you can't just rely on calling your buddy or your dad to come get you, because it might not work.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, for sure. Here we are back at the Toronto show. Our friends from Precision EFI beside you too. Great.
Yeah, that was the they were actually our neighbor, the guys from and I don't know if you've seen their trailer. I don't know if you've seen their trailer, but they've got, their trailer probably costs around $500,000. It's just a phenomenal what they've done. It's like a mobile garage, but with all the latest technology. And
those guys are first class. They're first class, man. I really love those guys. Yeah.
Yep.
So did you convert a lot of people at the show? Like, did you have product you're selling there, or are you just referring people to dealers?
You know what? We haven't brought any product. We've sold for nearly $40,000 in 3 days of carbide runners in that show. Yeah. And we haven't brought anything just because it was too much logistic and too many SKUs number. So we've done everything was shipped like the next Monday, 24 hours, and boom, it was drop shipped directly to consumers. And that's how we did it. But now we don't carry stock anymore because it's just too much. But yes, we did actually convert a lot of consumers, and a lot of consumers just using like standard OEM runner, and we were converting them to specialized carbide runner, and and the thing is, once they do go to specialized carbide runner like we do, never ever they go back to standard. It's just like tires. Once you go with the winter tires, in January, never ever you'll go back to summer tire, just because of the experience you had was completely different.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah,
Very
because
true.
the thing with runners is the thing with runners is that we get to see a lot of people at the show that they're complaining about cornering performance, darting issues, but they don't know that there's product that you can buy to actually completely change your experience. And and the reason why manufacturer put such a standard product on, let's say, for Ski-Doo, Polaris, Arctic Cat, Yamaha, for everybody, it's the same reason as what the auto industry is doing. Like if you buy tomorrow a Ford 250 brand new pickup truck, like 100,000, 100K, it's gonna have the cheapest tire ever. And the reason why they do that is, it's just like for the snowmobile industry, they don't know what you're gonna do with your truck. Are you gonna is your wife using the truck to go for grocery once a week, twice a week? Are you going for hunting? Are you gonna pull 50,000 pounds with your truck? Are you gonna, I don't know, there's so many different things you can do with your truck.
Yep.
It's the same thing for snowmobiling, but the difference is with snowmobiling is when you have the standard, when you have a pickup truck, if you go on the highway and you put it on the cruise control, even if you have a super cheap tire, it's still gonna go straight. With a snowmobile, that's a different story. If you keep the OEM on, you're not gonna go straight, and you're not gonna corner as much as you would want to. So that's and in the last 2 years, with the COVID, so many there's, and you know it, Gary, you've probably seen it in the trail. There's so many new riders, so many new people that just started snowmobiling with the COVID, and we want to keep those snowmobilers into the sport, and we want to make sure they enjoy their riding experience. And and that's why we came up with the display and the whole thing.
Oh, cool.
Yep, that was the show too.
Nice and clean display there. Is that kind of the same setup you give the dealers to display? Is that what that is? Is a dealer pack?
It's the exact same. Yeah, the exact same display.
Yeah, nice. There's a scratchers.
That's a scratchers. Yeah.
So they bolt right on to an existing hole in your rail, right?
Well, you got to drill your rail, actually.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, you got to drill your rail, and nice thing with our scratchers is that you kind of you kind of have that little piece here. So you've got the bolt that bolts to your rail, and that little piece here, this is used as an anti-loosening device.
Okay.
So with this thing here, you're making 100% sure your scratcher are not gonna you're not gonna lose your scratcher.
Yeah, nice. So you have to drill 2 holes, or does that fit in an existing hole?
You can make it fit into an existing hole, but sometimes you got to drill 2 holes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, I'm gonna have to read the instructions tomorrow when I go to do these things. It's great.
Yep.
Can't wait to try them. That's one thing I've never used before, is scratchers.
And yeah, that's another picture of our display. You can see the duals on the right, completely on the right. We call it the mission. The Trek is a new product since 2 years. You can see it on the picture. It's just such a phenomenal product for anti-guarding and cornering as well. And then there's the Adventure.
Yeah, sweet. Looks good. Oh, that's the end of them there. So how do people find you on social media and follow you if they want to keep up to what's going on in the Koala Pieces world?
Well, they can actually follow us on Koala Pieces Instagram. That's where we post most of our stuff.
Right on.
Yep.
And then your website, qualipieces.com, and you can order online, anything like that?
Exactly. Any question you might have, they can go through the website, and you can send an email as well. There's an online chat, which is pretty cool, and it's pretty fast too. There's an online chat during business hours.
Great. So if you had questions about picking the right carbide, they're knowledgeable to help you with that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Right on.
Definitely.
So is it actually in-house? It's people in your company doing the chat?
Yep.
Right on. That's good to know. Sweet. And then what about you, Paul? How do people stay in touch with what your crazy adventures are?
Well, we have Instagram. It's vcode70. And then on Facebook, it's just search up Paul Mayu, and you'll see my picture there with the Polaris in the background. I have the Polaris Ambassador logo also. So yeah, for sure, it's an open account. So if you have any questions, either about Polaris sleds or Quality Pieces, I'm always more than happy to do my best. And if I don't have the answer, I know 4 other guys that probably do. So yeah, and anybody on the fence with these carbides, you know, they really do work amazing. Like Kevin said, if you decide to get a set, you won't be disappointed. You definitely won't be going back to the stockers. That's for sure.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's nice to have someone that rides them as much as you do too, you know. Renegade X says, great show, Kevin and Paul. Very informative. Thanks, Gary, and good night, everyone. We're losing a lot of people. Rob, the old guy, he's left the show. He said his battery was getting dead, so he's got to go. So I thank you for your time, Paul, as well, for coming on board. And Kevin, thank you so much for your time. We're almost bumping up to 4 hours here. That's been a crazy good show. Learned a lot. Thank you for the information and the products to try out. And I'm looking forward to continuing this relationship.
All right. Thanks for the invite, Gary. It's very appreciated. When you first contact, I told myself, oh gosh, that's a really nice opportunity to really show up what we do and talk to riders. And I thought about bringing Paul in picture because he's a big slider, and he tried almost the whole lineup this year. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit. You got the fast track snowmobile traction studs. I've got the Koala Pieces carbides. What more can you do, you know? And
Polaris Sled, oh man, there's a good combo.
There we go. But yeah, on that note, thank you guys, and have a great night, and we'll be in touch for sure. And if you want to hang out after the credits roll here, we can chat off the air too. So, but
thanks a lot for having us. It was a real pleasure.
You know, that was a lot of fun. I look forward to talking to you again too, Paul. That's great.
Thank you very much. Ditto.
Yeah, for sure. Here, let me just roll the credits here, and we'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good.
It's a journey for